We will go down there so it's not so formal.
Yeah, you can stay there.
Okay, the
But we
tape is
just have
on.
to...
I'm going to stand up here.
The tape is on. Let's start the meeting. Greenwich Township Committee, February 6, 2014, executive session. Roll call. Miliani. Here. Adams.
Here.
Polari.
Here.
Torriello.
Here.
Adequate notice of this meeting was given in accordance by the Open Public Meeting Act by mailing the schedule of the Township Committee to the express times, North Star Ledger newspaper, posting a copy on the Township Bulletin Board, and filing a copy with Township Clerk.
And at this time, can I please have a motion to go into executive session to discuss contract negotiations with Board of Education interlocal services agreement, busing?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Angela?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
There we go. This is perfect.
Hey, Mike.
I want these,
How are you?
Good.
I want these scanned in our package for radio.
They are.
No, these were handed to us. They were not in our package.
You see your folder there,
That's because
Why,
it's a
thank
printed
you.
copy. I
See your
don't know.
folder?
Scanned.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, and your other thing?
It was in there.
Well, many copies are in email. They're all in your mailbox.
I don't know. Well, that was before she scanned. They're in there.
All right. I don't know.
Hey, Chief. You ready?
I'm ready.
Fine. You're going to read the notice?
Okay, call to order the Greenwich Township Committee regular meeting, February 6, 2014. Roll call. Miliani. Here. Adams.
Here.
Polari.
Here.
Torriello.
Here.
Adequate notice of this meeting was given in accordance by the Open Public Meeting Act by mailing a schedule of the Township Committee to the Express Times and North Star Ledger newspaper, posting a copy on the Township Bulletin Board, and filing a copy with the Township Clerk. All rise for the flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can I have a motion to approve the regular and executive minutes for January 16th, 2014?
Make a motion. I'll second.
Comment? Roll call.
Miliani.
Yes.
Adams.
Yes.
Polari.
Yes.
Torriello.
Yes. And with respect to the payment of bills and claims, I have a question on two of them. I don't know if I should ask Lorraine on this one. There's an invoice for $19,665.63 that says unallocated items for bond payments, interest. And I have no idea what that means. How's that for a question? Do you want to see it, Lorraine? Would it be helpful? Yeah. And then I'm going to bring this one over too, which is the next one. I'll just leave the next one there, and then I can ask you.
Oh, this is just the interest portion.
I don't see it on this bill list.
For some reason, DTC calls it unallocated items.
Okay, but that's for existing, I guess, bonding that was done, when?
Several years ago.
Okay.
Maybe 3 years ago, when everything was consolidated into one large bond. This is the interest portion. During the year, in 6 months, we'll have a principal portion and another interest portion.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions? And then that one there, I see, is for $300 and some, but the attachment in the back, I'm only seeing 100.
Oh, it's, I don't want to say a blanket, but, this one is, for each month. Each one should be a different period. This is our version of a blanket purchase order. The third line wouldn't be released until...
I see, okay. Understood. So you're anticipating what the next monthly payments are going to be?
Yes.
Okay.
That way we don't have to put a whole other purchase order.
Okay, all right,
It would all be released at once. We just do that first line.
got it. All right, now I can sign them. All right, so with that, can I have a motion to pay bills in the total amount? That can't be right.
Just a question.
Yeah,
So the PO number, right, the 13 is standing for going against 2013 budget, and the 14 is going against 2014 budget?
Not necessarily, that's the year that they were created.
So which of these are going against the 2014 budget?
Well, I guess you'd have to look at one of your other variations of the bill list.
Yeah, which we haven't gotten to. My problem was trying to understand this new process, and
Let me see if I can
Is-
find the regular format.
Am I crazy, or is that $2 million, is that a $2 million,
2.377 million. Total.
I'll just put in a copy of the regular bill list.
yeah, there's,
how does that become $12 million?
well, you got $1 million right here going to...
Oh, I missed that
town.
one. I missed that one.
Yeah, and then you got 600...
Yes, that's it,
going to
that's the one,
store.
that's the one I missed.
If you look at the back,
Yeah,
you see the breakdown by department or budget area. Like you see COA trust, you see escrow trust.
Right.
Now, when you see $1 million for the county right there...
I see, okay, right, all right.
The 301 is the current fund budget from 2013. The 401 is current fund budget from 2014.
Okay. The 401 is 2013,
14.
14,
14.
the 301
I
is
wanted it
13.
the other way around. I always saw 67 grand going into
Right.
13.
Right.
2.3 million goes into
The
2014.
largest portion of that is your taxes.
Yeah.
Okay, so with that, can I have a motion to pay bills in the amount of $2,377,154.24?
I'll make the motion.
Second. Comment. Roll call.
Miliani? Yes. Adams?
Yes.
Laurie?
Yes.
Coriello?
Yes. And now can I have a motion to open the meeting up for public comment?
Second. All in favor?
Aye. Anyone wishing to make public comment, please come up to the podium, state your name and address. Happy New Year to you.
In August, I think it was August, in September, I was here at the meeting, and because it was a very long meeting, we were in the hall for hours, so I left, and I shared with Mr. Finelli about the problem that we have on Jackson Road with the cars speeding, and God forbid that one of those cars ends up on the playground. So I asked if this is a township road, I was hoping that maybe we can get a sign, or if we could have a sign on the road that would say children at play, or maybe slow down the playground, or something like that. Is that a possibility? I don't know if that was discussed, I don't know if anybody knew about it, I was hoping that maybe we could do something.
I actually vaguely remember having a discussion about this, but I don't remember what, other than the topic being raised, I don't remember.
I remember the result, how we got there, and it's really not that important. Yeah, this young lady came, and I guess she didn't want to wait. You guys asked me to go out and talk to her, I think, so she didn't have to wait. And I came back, my memory serves me correctly, and actually relayed her comments.
For a couple of hours.
Yeah.
Didn't meeting was going on,
And I-
thought it's the way to-
And I relate the comment.
Yeah, Mike has to just figure out what this is.
Yeah, so why don't
That was
we,
my ability, and I subsequently then, I did talk to John, because, when it comes to signage, that's basically, I talked to the DPW, and it's just, they rarely have extra signs around, correct? Did you? Oh, there, yeah. They might have an extra stop sign laying around, but just specialty signs like this. And we talked about ordering some signs, him and I were supposed to go down and take a look to see whereabouts, what signs would make sense, where they would go, and that never happened.
okay, so can we agree to have you identify the appropriate spot for a slow children at play, or we don't even have to, I don't think we have to get that in the
No, I can
weeds.
recommend
So
whatever-
whatever you think is appropriate, can you just please get it done and then have it installed?
Difference, but you can try.
I also
Yeah.
think Mike check to see if there's enough speed signs on that street.
And the chief of police is here, so I'm sure he'll take that into account when he's sending out his patrols.
Don't we have the, your speed monitor still on the
I
trailers?
asked for one 3 years ago.
You can't
Okay.
keep it there the whole time. It
Yeah.
comes and goes.
Never happened, yeah. I just had somebody that came over, wrote it for
Hey, Joe?
Yeah.
I don't know if we can, do a motion or whatever, but we have a portable, your speed is, that it flashes, all that.
People do it.
Put it out on the road.
Neighborhood, but never in the right spot.
Well, now we know where the right spot is.
Yeah.
Going down Jackson towards Rita. My house is right where the curve is, where the playground is, and, it's bad. I
Mhm.
mean, not only that, my car was crashed a month ago, right there, and the mailbox, and then a week ago, somebody crashed into the neighbor's, curb. And then last year, the car ended up on the curb where the playground is. So
Now,
I'm like,
we're gonna get to the sign, okay, we're gonna get the sign. And I guess the other thing I could suggest is the chief of police is here. If you could find a home that can host, like, 'cause you need a power for that, right, chief? So if there's anybody in the area that's willing to host the sign, I'm sure the chief will work with you in getting the sign down there that basically, we can hook it up.
Yeah, it just
needs to remain
plugged in So that's something you can maybe
okay.
give the police chief your contact information.
Yeah. With him, he could
That'd be great.
stop at my house and
Sure.
we can figure out what it is, the time,
Yeah.
and...
Oh, well,
Yeah.
he'll do that.
Yeah, he'll
You
take-
just need, if you want to host the electric.
Just so he has a place to plug it in.
He does all that stuff.
It's what he needs power.
That's
But,
all.
to the extent that he has power and a willing homeowner, then he can take care of it.
Yeah,
Okay, so maybe we can talk about it.
I have one.
Okay.
I use-
Great.
All right,
Thank you,
so-
Maggie.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to make public comment? Anyone?
Mr. Cardone, you should get up.
Louis Cardona, 1119 Fifth Avenue in Alphaboro. Greetings, council. The reason why I approached the podium is to speak to you about the pool. One comment about basically already on the public record, that last November, the voters of Alpha voted in a referendum for using open space tax money to resurrect the pool. The newspaper article that just came out recently may have printed on the statement. I'm not sure what the source was, but I don't believe I've ever seen a discussion with any either Greenwich or Hackon on asking them for any money in resurrecting the pool. So if we do want to entertain the thought of that house, if the community might want to utilize the pool as community resource. The general idea that I'm trying to present is that a lot of volunteerism is being offered. It's a great asset that this is building helps to get back up and running. The amount of residents you have here, the amount of residents in Cohasset and Alpha come together and utilize this resource. There are very few public schools that are still out there operating. The Alpha Borough Code has an ordinance in there that it has to be a self-sustaining operation. That's the one area that really is the sticking point for what we're trying to do. We're trying to see that once we get the correct
So Lou, is just so I understand, so what you're looking for is an opportunity to expand the potential base for members? Is that ultimately
It would
the...
be open, for people from other municipalities, and a very low, amount difference in alpha if we didn't do some kind of a joint services in this, but I believe if there was a joint services, it would be the same fee for everyone. So let's say we did get it up and running on our own. Greenwich residents would come and say, okay, how much do we say non-resident fee?
Right.
That would be set. The aspect of our borough pool is that we have received 3 acres of this money at one time. There's some legal aspects about how we can resurrect it and 3 acres is involved. But I just wanted to find out who might be on the committee here, who might want to dialogue with the Alpha Shared Services Committee. The chairman of that, Councilman Tom Cruz, and myself and Councilman Shore are members of that Shared Services Committee, plus Councilwoman Shore is our Director of Public Property. So any one of us will be willing to listen to any one of these.
Yeah, Elaine and I are on the Shared Services Committee here in Greenwich, and either one or both of us would be happy to sit down and discuss with you, you know, this issue or any other, you know, regarding shared services.
I hope my discussion cleared up.
It does actually, to the extent that I think what the concept you shared tonight seemed to be a little bit different than what I read in the paper.
Absolutely.
Actually, a lot different.
What is the concept that I had
yeah.
when I read it? I didn't know where to reach the
Understood. But, yeah, no, definitely would be happy to sit down with you, Lou. Okay, thank you. Anyone else wishing to make public comment? Seeing no hands, motion to close public comment?
Make the motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Mayor, we have to...
And when we discussed payment of bills and claims, there is one invoice for Cindy Carrigan and Carrigan Design in the amount of $2,500, and I'm looking to make a motion to have 50% of that paid now. This is a fee for the Greenwich Township new webpage that we are almost done. And I know you guys have taken a peek, right? I'm really excited about it. It looks sweet. It really does. I mean, it's 21st century. It is extremely user-friendly. It has everything on there, or it's going to have everything on there from...
Okay, we'll do a motion to authorize.
Enough of that. I'm sorry, I'm sorry for that project. I've been working on this very diligently, and it
Joe, is
doesn't...
there a requisition on this?
There is not a requisition. By the way, for the record, I'd like to make a motion to violate the policy that Jim is going to introduce in about 10 minutes, and I'd like to get it in before we actually adopt the
He's trying to sneak one in.
So if I could sneak this one in and get a special exemption
Sensation, yeah.
and consideration from...
I'll make the motion. I've worked with Cindy and given her...
I will second
I'm sure.
I will second the motion for authorization in the amount of $1,250. That's half of 2,500, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, okay. So, all those in favor?
Emiliani?
Yes.
Adams?
Yes.
Valori?
Yes.
Freeland?
Yes. Thank you, Jim, for the special dispensation. Appreciate it.
I had to point over.
No, that's why I wanted it done like now.
Okay. And now with that, I guess, turn it over to Lorraine for a CFO report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I really don't have anything. All of my exciting topics and plethora of reports that I provided for my liaison will be discussed
In the next 5 minutes?
This is the Budget Finance Committee. Rick.
Fair enough. So then with that, we'll turn it over to the Budget Finance Committee.
All right. So I'd like to do things in the following order. And I know we've discussed a couple of things, but wanted to go over the temporary bill pay process and then perhaps wrap that whole discussion up with a resolution of some sort.
Okay?
Then get into reviewing the text of the ordinance. I can bring up date on some comments from our auditor. And then figuring out our process for the 2014 budget. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So, understand everyone has in front of them a nice manila folder.
I'm scared to open it up. I see a flow chart with bubble comments already.
For the record, we have a process for...
Yeah, it's already...
show the pictures? Are you gonna do the story
Can I do the Vanna White?
And different colors.
Oh, well,
We're going to be here all night.
Yeah, can we-
you want to give them a
Here all
copy?
night.
Can we say type A?
Yeah, really.
Oh, man.
You guys want a copy for yourself?
Corporate Six Sigma going on here.
Just so they can follow along.
I feel woefully deficient with my attachments.
Credit cards going to PO. Yeah, you want to...
Wait a minute, that didn't come out right. For the record.
I'm sorry, did I miss something?
No, you did not.
Here, Mike. I have seen this way too many times.
I have an extra one. Did you want this back, Elaine? Color?
Okay.
Pass that down.
But I was going to get rid of the color nightmare.
Elaine has that.
Okay, so I figured we could all quickly, within 5 minutes, walk through this process without questions and get everything nailed down. As with any new process, there's going to be a lot of aches and pains. So in an attempt to try to minimize that, what I have in front of you guys is not only the process flow, and on the second page is the reporting aspects that come out of it.
It's here, it's covered.
Okay? And in our folder, we actually have sample reports, and a couple of the decisions are, what is it that you want to see? Do you want to see the summary? Do you want to see the detail? Do you want to see the different colors? And a big component of this is handling of recreation, okay? And just a little, you guys, just a little asterisk off on the side. Yeah.
You've
So-
got red in your box.
You do. You guys have a flow chart?
We're special.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you got a lot of exceptions. So the crux of this is really, it ties out to the ordinance which Frank provided us, and as we're walking through the details of the ordinance, there are some areas that are, creating some questions. So if you'd like, what I want to do is walk through the process, all right? This is really moving forward, all right? So we put some things in place to restrict the security and the overrides that used to be present last year, so that we could control our money, is the bottom line.
Jim, just for the folks who don't have a flow chart, can you highlight the top right in terms of what we, that I think
That
gives
says-
it, that sets the table.
Yeah. So, we're basically, Greenwich Township is moving from and I'll say this a couple of times, moving from a spend, approve, pay process to a request, approve, spend, pay process. So if you go back to our first meeting, Mr. Torriello indicated a few issues that we were having with our bill pay sign-off, and it was basically, we were rubber stamping spend that already occurred without our approval. So we don't want to be in that shop anymore. Costs can increase as they have last year, and you really have no trust or faith within the systems, your financial controls that run the township. So we used to spend the money, then approve it up here, and then cut the check. That's what used to happen. So now we're going to change that around so that a request comes in, and we'll go to the police again, right, with his tires. So, Richie, you need some tires for a vehicle. Okay, there's a request that comes in for those tires for those vehicles and whatnot. The request is approved by the township committee, and then the process begins for cutting of the purchase order and the receipt. Did you actually get what you wanted? Okay, and that approval, yes, Rich is okay with what he received, and then the actual payment. Okay? So again, we're going from a spend, approve, pay, to a request, approve, spend, pay. All right, that's the basis of our flow chart here. Any questions? clarifications?
Yeah, I have just a slight clarification.
I'm looking at you like you...
The process previously was request administrator approval, purchase, township approval. Okay, cut check. But this is switching the authority of the approval to actually make the purchase from the administrative to town council.
And that's important because... Yeah, and that's important because of the load that we're going to be taking on. Is that true?
You guys are become a lot more interaction in the purchasing process.
And we should. I mean, that's part of our fiduciary responsibility to the residents, to oversee the spending of their tax dollars. So, there are some, Jim, are we going to get into the recreation exceptions so that, and it's just for the record, it's not an exception that we're not going to be reviewing it, but it is an exception to the extent of recognizing the ability to do things a little quicker.
Yeah, so I've got to put on my own glasses here. So yeah, I would like to walk through the process, and if you would like, we'll do what we envision for the township, and then we'll go back and review what we envision for recreation. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so the first set of it is township only, all right? So where do we all begin? We begin with our budget, and we have a temporary budget in place currently. A department head makes a request, okay? That request is put it directly into the admin system, okay? That's a system that we pay, I don't know, quite a lot of money for. It's an ERP-based system. It can do a lot of work around here for us, as opposed to us shuffling paperwork around. So the request goes into the admin system, and at that point, at the committee meetings, and I'm going to flip back and forth between the reporting page and this page, there's a yellow summary and a detailed report that's printed out. If you go to your folder, you will see the yellow summary sheet, which we also had in our agenda today. Okay, and this looks like a condensed report, and it just lists the requisition, the description, the status, okay? Open, what is APP? APP 1?
That's approval one.
Approval 1, okay. And the overall dollar amount. Then there is also a detail, okay, which is obviously quite a few more pages. But what you actually see on that detail is, for example, I'm going to give 3/4 of the way down, up dikes, I guess this is where we do all of our trucks. All right, the DPW shifter valve, wiper arms, truck blades, rebuilding of a cylinder, starter switch for truck number 4. So the question here is, which report format would you like to see, and how would you like to see it? In terms of paperless, a paper-based report. Is really the report.
I need to see I don't think I would really rather see the detail that's consolidated. I think that's fine. We sort of cut back on that.
But at one point or another, if you wanted to look at detail, you
could
could.
drill down and you can go and get it.
Right.
Like you said.
I think it's nice to know that there's a detail if you need it.
Right.
But I think for our initial, I think
Getting
this,
online with it,
I think the
yeah.
condensed,
On is best.
All right, so
The summary
you're
version.
showing
The
me
summary-
detail.
The summary.
No, I'm not.
The summary version.
I got
see
I
this
got
is
the
what I
summary.
condensed.
This is why I wanted everything printed out.
Summary.
What's that?
This says detail.
Mine, this says condensed.
Why don't I have the
Underneath
same
your,
one?
yeah,
Mine
it's
says
underneath that other list there,
requisition
see it under
listing
there?
Requisition listing detail.
Yeah,
Should
that's
be
your,
3
that's the one
in your
you...
folder.
Yeah,
Okay.
the smallest one,
I see
Three
summary and
yellows.
detail.
You have 3, Jim?
That's it.
Yeah,
the smallest, most
Condensed,
is just the requisition listing by requisition number.
the top.
That gives you the least amount of information in
that's this one.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
in the shortest format.
Right.
The other 2 versions are both versions of the detailed listing. There's a condensed, and then there's a super detailed. There's not a whole big difference between the 2 of them. What I would like input on is how you're going to use these. Are you going to use these at a township committee meeting to approve the requisitions, or are you going to approve them
previously and just have this as a reporting at the committee meeting to say these are the requisitions that were approved or up for approval. in the
And
last
have been
meeting.
encumbered. These have been encumbered.
Right, nothing will come on here until it's encumbered, until it's removed and set aside from the budget.
What did you envision? That's what I'm turning to you. It was a,
I would want to see, from what you're saying, Joe, or what we're saying, is we want to take on that responsibility for looking at these requests and seeing what is purchased. So I would think this one that says summary actually gets into some of the detail, the DPW shifter valve and whatnot.
Right.
Okay? This listing, okay, doesn't give you any of that detail.
But it also tells you how much has been encumbered for the entire department.
Yes. As does the other report, but now you have
But
the,
this is the one, I think.
okay, which one is that? What's the handwriting on
Budget
top?
account.
it
Requisition
says
listing.
format detail without additional description is the one she was looking at.
There's one with a status and there's one without a status. That's what I see the difference in the headline.
Requisition listing summary, requisition listing
There's one with
detail.
status and one without a status. That's
The requisition, the one with the handwriting on the top that says requisition listing detail includes the
the
status.
status.
Mhm.
Open.
And that way we can understand,
Canceled.
yeah.
What does that status mean, Lorraine?
If it's open, that means it's just hanging out waiting for your approval before anything is processed on it.
Canceled.
The approval one was our, kind of our first joint effort in entering requisition, and the department had entered it and hit that approval button right from the get-go for the first departmental approval. The ones that are canceled was an aborted attempt at a detailed requisition. All the other ones showing as open are just pending township committee approval to be processed.
So on the requisition listing detail, where on the 4/1/26 entry, streets, that John Howell entered the $50, where it says approval 1, that would represent right here, this box on his flow chart, under the request and approval, the department head right there.
Correct.
So this yellow report indicates that this step was done, actually, all three are done. This yellow report indicates that
Yes.
everything flowed down. The
And that-
department head filled out the requisition, and a requisition request has been generated, and that the funds have been encumbered.
Yeah.
Right.
That's where we are at that point.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Then, we would move to the approval stage where, I guess that's where your question is, if we're going to be making the approval, what do we need to see to go through this box right here of approving
Right,
it?
what
We don't have
function
that.
would this
Say that,
serve?
would that
If
replace
this is
this?
only going to be presented at
It'll be back
meetings,
behind.
then nobody's going to buy anything except for every 2 weeks after you all meet. If you want,
So that's exactly how it should be.
okay, so nobody's going to be able to buy anything.
Correct. Until we say you could spend the money, that's correct.
Okay, but that's after a township committee meeting.
Yes.
You don't want to come in and say, I need a pencil, and I write up a requisition, I print it, I contact Jim, say, hey, I'm out of pencils. He comes in that night or the next night, signs off on the requisition.
Mhm. That's how we described it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, we're not saying, the question is whether it's done formally at a township committee meeting or informally where elected officials come in to a designated place and sign off on it. I don't think probably informally might make more sense
Yes.
to keep things moving.
Moving.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
Do you
that's
disagree
big.
with that?
No, but that's huge. in
It's a
terms
big
of
difference, it's a big
understanding
difference.
what
It
we're
is.
doing.
It's a big difference, it is.
So the department liaison has signature authority to say, go get your pencils, go get your tires.
I think that's how we should do it.
Or if someone's not available, they can say to somebody
Yes.
else, go in and do
Yes,
it.
but I think in terms of how you deal it out, I think the rec reports should be generated with the liaisons in mind, if it can be. So in other words, each liaison would get their area of responsibility to approve the requisition. that's how the work would be divvied up, except, yeah, no, that's it.
Oh, okay,
That was
so,
that.
so work that out, because this was a sticking point, you know,
Yeah,
is, do we wait for the committee meeting, or do you expect for each liaison to get a daily email or daily phone call? You know, what is our format here?
I think daily's unreasonable.
Yeah.
I think weekly.
I think weekly is reasonable.
Yeah.
And that person gets a,
Sets up their own time to
Come in and sign off on the
Right.
requisitions that are
set up
sitting
your
in
own
their
time
box.
once per week to come in and take care of your stuff.
so what are we signing off on? This yellow sheet of paper?
Do you know what?
That's her question?
Well,
The
my question is,
requisition form.
Yeah, what I think would be more beneficial for you, say, in my instance, I want to buy a pencil. Well, I'm going to have a printout of, this is the Staples cost for the pencil, this is the Jourley's cost for the pencil, and I fill out my requisition, I'd like to get 500 of these pencils. I email Jim, he comes in later in the week when he has opportunity, he reviews them, says, well, Jourley's is less expensive, Staples can deliver it. Maybe he would make the call as to what the appropriate item is, sign off on that requisition then at that point, and then the purchase order can be generated.
Which is part of what we attempted to do this week.
But I guess, where are we signing off?
Yeah, what are
On
we...
the requisition
I think
form.
what you all should get would be all the documentation and the printed yellow requisition.
Yes.
That's where you sign off.
Review everything.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that Jim would have all the quotes, or if police are getting tires, the quotes are attached for that, you can see the detail.
That's
So
correct.
that you're the best knowledgeable,
So, do we have a copy of that requisition up here?
No.
No.
my question is,
all the
when,
requisitions that have been requested so far have been distributed right to your mail bins already.
so my question is, you have this
So if
level
you
of
had
detail.
any, you would have had them, yeah. No?
Oh, wait, I got 4,000 sheets of paper. So it is, I'm sorry, go ahead. Didn't mean to cut you off.
Right after you, man. I'm patient guy.
Here's a whole bunch of them that
My question is, if you have this boatload of detail on this report that takes up 3 pages, is it going to be attached to this requisition that's got the boatload of detail on it too, or is it, we're just getting this one sheet?
Now,
When does this come in?
after that requisition is
After.
approved, the overall plan will come back to finance will generate the purchase order, but all of that detail will stay attached to it. What my question really is if we generate this in detail, then is the purpose to have all of town council just review and visualize what's been done?
What's been spent? Yeah.
Okay, but this hasn't been spent yet, this is just what's...
Well, what's encumbered, and
Once it
What's
is
the same
encumbered, though, once
detail
it's
is this?
transitioned into a purchase order, it's not going to show...
I'm gonna think out loud. The purchase,
that I
The
understand.
writing, you just handed this to me, and my question was, am I going to be signing off on this detailed report?
No.
Along with that, no, but I'm saying, is he handed me this,
That's what
which
he
is in
said.
essence the same thing as that, it just says requisition, that says purchase order. It's the same level of
I
detail,
was looking at the
and it looks like to me, this is a boatload of detail with your report that's got the boatload of detail.
yeah, but the difference is, we're getting detail after it's been spent. See, right now, we get the bill, we get the invoice, and we're being asked to approve it, even though this is a sham. This right now is a sham.
So that we can
We're
go
asked
buy
to
it,
approve something that's already
I
been
totally
approved.
understand that.
So
What you're
there-
saying is sign off on this, right?
so that I
It's
can
gonna
go
be the
buy
same
it.
thing.
Right.
We're gonna do the same thing that we did before, except when we're signing off on it and we're looking at the detail, for the first time, we're actually gonna have a real input, because when we sign the yellow sheet, we're gonna say, we looked at the price quote, it makes sense, go ahead and get it.
All right, let me, Tom, for argument's sake, the detail that's put in there will automatically come out on this when it's
I
ready.
understand that.
Okay, so
I'm-
all
my
of that
question
then
is
gets
detail.
attached.
We were just making a
I don't
decision as to
know-
what level of detail
I don't know what
do
level.
we want. All right,
Those are probably going to go away.
all right, so
Yeah.
you were
I
just
think they
asking,
should-
all right, that's what
Yeah,
I want.
these
You're saying,
probably
which
will
one do you
go
want?
away.
Do we want the short
No.
detail or the long detail? I'm like, I don't want the long detail, so I'm getting it here. So, all right.
Let me try to
No,
cut
these will go
us
away.
all to the chase.
I
Okay,
think they
now
should
that we've
go away.
decided,
Right.
on a weekly basis, we're going to be coming in. What are we going to be seeing? We'll be seeing a yellow requisition
With its supporting detail.
with the supporting detail behind it.
Right.
What I want to see on here is department head signature, okay?
Which
So
is
I know
me,
Richard
yeah.
or Kim, you guys want it, okay? And then
And Joe
and
Township
liaison,
committee.
or township committee, one spot for
Signature.
township
Right.
committee.
Yep.
What more do we need?
Actually, we need a signature Do we need your signature to indicate that the funds are there and it's encumbered?
Exactly.
That would show on the purchase order.
Got it.
But
At this level.
But-
Wait.
No, I disagree.
This can't print until the funds are encumbered.
Correct.
Understand? You can't print this.
So
until
we
they're
already
funded.
know that step's done when we have this in our
Got it.
hands.
Still need the official signature on the purchase order.
Understood, but in other words, because now we're going to be using Edmunds at every step of the process, we know that the funds are available, just simply by seeing the yellow sheet.
The yellow sheet will
Okay.
be behind the green sheet.
That's great.
Perfect. That's great. That's good.
So, so what I'm thinking is, we need the yellow requisitions, take those out of it.
Yeah, I don't want
Yes.
this.
All right, but we do not need,
Let me just sign them.
All this.
These
we don't need anything, any yellow
need any of this.
You don't
report.
need any yellows.
You guys want a summary or?
The only thing I suggest is that a yellow report of some sort is generated at least once a month, so you could see what requisitions have not been gone to the purchase order, lost in the system, because if it gets longer than a month, it gets out of
An old order
control, and then
report.
you're working for the system again.
All right, so, is that on the summary, Elaine?
So then
Yeah.
if that's the case,
So,
let's
makes
do
sense.
this.
Is that this
Again,
report, Elaine?
No, it's got to show what's open. It's got to show the...
Just show it's open.
Oh, it does.
It's
Has the status here.
Canceled.
I want Elaine to see it. Elaine, can you see this?
Yes, I have it, Jim.
That's the one you want.
Yes, well, not for me.
No.
I'm saying at the end of the month, she needs to tie this out, that's all. So
Do you guys want to see this at all?
when it's attached to the green PO, I like it.
Okay, but this would never be attached to the PO. Do you want
No.
to see any kind of reporting in case?
Well, should we see once a month to see what's open, what's tied out, and what's not?
You want something?
You know what, let's do this and walk through it, as I've said in the past. We need to do these things and decide what we like, what we don't like. Just making a decision now is kind of
Do you
hard.
think we need to see a report on a monthly basis to see what's still open, and what's not paid in 30 days?
We're gonna hit that with red open order.
But just
With
in general.
recreation. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So then, I think monthly. Let's start off with monthly generated, so we could see what's open and what's not. Okay.
Okay, we got the first color done.
So yellows are gone? Or
Yellows are done.
just-
Yellow's done.
There's no yellow.
There's yellow for requisition.
Just this one that you're going to print out, the condensed one?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's for the third Thursday.
These are only going to show open.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so now the township committee, so you guys are gonna batch them up by departments for...
I'm sorry, just to clarify, you're not going to run, so in other words, only print what's open after 30 days. So,
All that will show on there.
right, so we're only going to see the problem child. If it's been approved and not open
something's
anymore, it's
not
not going to
open.
appear on the report. Good.
Okay, so in this approval box, okay, now we're moving into the approval column. The first approval box, TC approves requisitions by department. We'll have it sitting in our boxes, and it's a one signature TC approval.
Yes.
Okay.
Do you want any kind of threshold on that?
No.
No, I don't think so. You guys want it?
I mean, it's not like I'm coming to Joe and saying, I want to buy a new car, can you approve
Well,
it?
I would hope that somebody would say,
You know.
at some point, if it's, if it's really an expensive thing, a department head would make a phone call to their liaison and say, hey, we got a big problem with a truck that's costing me $8,000 to fix, or a muffin monster, or whatever the heck it is, the
The heater
sewer.
broke on the building and I need, yeah.
What's that?
That has to do with the
We're
sewer.
gonna show you what the button monster is this year.
Let's move on.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, I would
So-
hope that one of us would have a little bit more,
Yeah, and, you know, there's really no big deal in saying, you know what, let's talk about this at the committee meeting, and we discuss it here. So if we're okay with that, one signature,
No threshold.
no threshold,
Mm-hmm.
all right? That now, our signature on that yellow requisition gives Lorraine the authority to cut the PO. PO item, now that is a legal obligation of the township to pay a bill at that point in time. Okay? So we're giving her that authority with our signature, she cuts the PO, goes out to the vendor, department head is aware of it. Now we're coming back into the receipt. Okay? I don't want to move too quick, but
No, that's where we are.
okay, good. Department head receives it. Now we got a green document, okay? And if I look at the payment, right, it's the same purchase order. All right, now it's just gonna have all the other detail behind it. You got a vendor signature, a department head signature, this is all the same. And then we all sign it and it's okay to pay.
Yeah, now we're authorizing the check to be cut because we know we received the goods. Yep,
And
that's,
the bill list, all right, so that white bill list that we got this morning, or this, today, do you want to see it in a different format? Again, same format, summary, detail. This is the green, 3 documents in our folder.
I would say we just leave it alone.
This is fine. I mean, if we wanted something,
Leave the
maybe
detail.
the end.
Well, leave the,
end
leave
of
this
the year.
version of it. We'll get to
Yeah.
that.
So it's a PO, PO order number.
Do you want it broken out by department?
Oh,
That'd be nice. I mean, I like, instead of it all jumbled up.
No.
really? No, I don't want a 22-page
I
report.
don't, this is good enough. It doesn't have to be broken out by department, I don't think.
Okay.
That's what the funds breakdown on the back.
Wouldn't it be less budget versus actual anywhere in there?
It has the breakout in the back, that's fine.
2216.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you also want to see recreation on here?
Well,
I thought we,
yeah,
All right, I'm confusing it with the report.
Yeah, that's a
Okay.
different color.
Let's leave it at this.
Yeah.
We'll keep that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. That's it, the bill is paid.
Right, we're done.
We're done.
Everything is done with the exception of rent.
That's right.
And it's basically, everything that we've discussed applies to rec unless it's under a dollar amount.
Okay, so now let's walk through the recreation process.
Right.
I'm sorry, Sheriff, to interrupt you, but there is one kind of big difference. After that PO was cut, the vision was to give that purchase order back to the user department, kind of involve them a
For
little bit more
signatures.
in purchasing. So if Kim wants to buy a pencil, after it's approved by the committee, I generate the purchase order, give it to Kim. Kim then is responsible to make the purchase for her pencil. Either contact the vendor and say, I want to order a pencil, mail it, fax it, hand deliver it to Staples, buy it, get the vendor signature. When she's completed her purchase, she then returns it to finance, and then we know it's received, ready to go, and then it goes on the bill list.
Yeah, the only way it gets on the bill list is with the department head signature.
Correct. The vision was to kind of force a little bit more of the purchasing back onto the user department, that they would make
Vendor signature.
They would have to finalize all the purchase and get all the signatures and sign off on the PO.
Right.
Yeah, we'll
As
give,
opposed to finance, mailing out the purchase order,
Yeah.
interacting with the vendor.
yeah.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
But
that makes sense.
what happens, I'm just being devil's advocate here, but what happens if the purchase order never comes back to you, Lorraine?
never gets
It's
paid.
never going to get paid.
And that puts the onus on the person who wants it. So then maybe they didn't really need it.
What do you mean they don't get their merchandise? They ordered it off the requisition.
I ordered it off the requisition.
You're not allowed to
No.
order off a requisition.
It's gotta be a purchase
It's
order.
approved.
It's a requisition.
No,
You can't order it. until
Yeah,
you get
you
the-
get the purchase
You
order.
can't order till you get the purchase order.
Okay, so then...
I missed that step.
He signs off on these, okay.
Your liaison.
Yeah.
Joe, he signed off Print Plus for my envelopes.
And he
I'm gonna
gives it
come
to me.
downstairs.
No, you don't get it back. He gives it back to me.
Okay, well, I have it. Yeah, well, I have it for your bin. You're gonna generate a PO. You're gonna give me the PO. I'm gonna call Pam and say, I have clearance, I'm gonna order my stuff. Okay? She does the stuff and sends the things to me. I have it. I give her the PO that she was supposed to sign, and she never sends it back. But I've got my envelopes and an invoice.
Then
Staples
she's
ain't
going
gonna
to contact us because she wants to get paid.
Right. Well, that's what they were just saying, so...
Yeah, so an invoice would come in, and there would be into whoever was to find that, and there would be no PO to marry it up against.
Right.
Right, and it doesn't get, that's the checks and balances.
That's the,
That's the check
that's
about
what
it.
I'm concerned
Say that
about.
again for the remedial learner here.
Oh, okay, so an invoice comes in the door now. Staples.
For the mayor, please, say this again.
An invoice comes in.
Yes.
And there is no matching PO, because the invoice is going to bear the PO number.
PO number.
Right.
And there's nothing to match it up
Nothing
against.
gets received without a PO number.
So that is a problem. So now they can go in and look to see who ordered PO number 546. Kim, where's the PO? Oh, okay, here it is. You got to sign it? Signed it. And they move on.
Yeah, it's good.
we're gonna have to work it out. Let's work through it a little bit and see, and get the bugs out by actually walking it.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah, I'm a hands-on learner. I gotta actually jump in the pool without the water
You're not
rings
jumping in this
and
pool.
see, and see if I could float.
You're not
I
jumping
want all
in
my
this
stuff
pool.
to get approved by Justin.
Yeah. Joe?
A question, fire department-wise, never had to get involved where you get appropriations because of like, a contractor. We're listed as.
Yeah, there's exceptions to that, Joe.
What will be my process? Maybe leave my liaison know so he can get that to me. Now, in the past, I filled out a requisition, signed on, forwarded it. Purchase order was made in my mailbox. I signed the purchase order. Do you want me to submit a fire department bill for quarterly appropriation? I could generate a bill. Leave me know. And just on the OEM side, I don't think, I know I never was forwarded a password or way to get in the admin system.
Oh, maybe that's a user we need to add, Jim.
Even though it's only a budget of about $500.
Yeah, but
That's
I
still a
know,
small
there's a
budget, but it's
point
still a
you
budget
might
nonetheless.
need, yeah.
Yeah.
And what happens if John's out and you need to do something in your department? Yeah.
Yep.
You're the second in command.
When it first started, I had, I think, his password on, like I said, the system, I'm usually the colloquial, I'm not the guy for doing that.
Jim is the keeper of the keys. He'll get you access.
I think what we're doing is creating a department called fire and and this way, an OEM. This way you can control your requisitions. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what we're saying?
Well, the next thing is I'm saying is, fire department wise, we have town-owned fire trucks that, out of my appropriation, the fire department always cuts the check for major repairs, this and that. I just put in for appropriation, then I got fire department-owned trucks that fire department pays for services, so forth. You want me submitting fire company bills to get my appropriation, or put in my quarterly request for my appropriation to keep my department going, like I've done in the past?
Who's fire?
Can we table it until we talk a little bit more?
Why don't you guys have a conversation?
Just a member, but let's get together with Joe.
Yeah, we'll take, for time management, we'll take it offline and let you meet with Tom and Jim to work that out.
Yeah, no, that's fine, like I said, I just
A lot
want
of
to
this stuff is, we're working through it. We need to add Joe and Amanda. Amanda's not on here. VP. Animal control.
I think Lorraine's close.
No, she uses mine.
Yeah. Do you have a question?
Okay, so we'll get with Joe, like, in a week or so? Yeah.
Wait, the chief had a question, too.
Same type of question in that, well, I guess, kind of like that. If you were giving the example of the part-time, is this request going for everything?
Yes.
My concern with that is if I have a car that the tires are bad on, and another car, the engine's going on, I got to sideline the car. So you give me the approval to get them fixed.
That's why we're going to look every week. We're not going to do it monthly.
Well, even if it's for a week, that whole week.
Well, you would send an email to Tom, and Tom and you would have a discussion, and you could use an email to use it as authorization.
Okay.
It's easy.
You're saying that just the email or...
He can email you back, go,
Go ahead and do it.
and attach it, and attach that email to your requisition.
So time is basically coming in.
Right.
Okay.
We're just trying
That
to
keeps you moving, and keeps your cars on the
So
road.
it's right on the front per...
email.
Per attachment.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good? Yep.
Now to the recreation exception.
And by the way, just
What is his
before
timeline
we
on
get there,
this?
Kim, I think I asked you might have sent me. I asked for everybody's email here in Greenwich contact. Did you send me that?
I sent you an
You did
email
send
saying
me
as
that.
to who has emails.
As to who, and there's some people who don't have
Who
email.
don't.
John was one. He has to have it.
Yeah, well, he needs a computer. He doesn't have a computer.
Does he
John Howell
have
doesn't
a phone, a PDA?
No.
John Howell has an email address.
Yeah, TD Howell, or...
That's
That's
at his
it.
home.
That's his home one?
That's his home.
And he doesn't have a
But he said he
smartphone.
doesn't check it. No, he doesn't. He has a contractor
You have to get
construction
him.
phone. He doesn't have an iPhone. He has a flip-top phone.
Do we
You have to
pay
get
for
him
his phone?
online.
Yes, you do.
We pay for the phone?
Yes, you do.
He's got to get rid of it.
Leave
We
it
pay for the
alone.
phone, he has to get rid of it tomorrow. He needs to get a PDA.
You want me to take care of this?
Yes,
Okay.
please. Gotta have it.
Marking it down.
We're paying, he has to be accessible
Joe,
by
you
email.
wanna help her on that one?
24/7.
You want to
Effective
help her on that
immediately.
one? Help who? Getting a new phone for John Howe.
Why would he?
I got this under control.
Yeah, thanks.
He's not gonna turn it over.
Yeah, he's gonna have to.
Okay, so we got through the
Yes.
DPW section.
Yep.
Well, actually, we can set him up also too with an account, because he does seem to be in here, so he can use Mary Ann's computer and go in and
There
check
you
his
go.
emails.
There you
A
go.
lot of extra equipment sitting on it. Can utilize
So I'll have
it.
Cindy create an account for him.
Perfect.
Okay. So recreation, you understand, things move at a more expeditious pace.
Lightning speed.
Yes. So we wanted a process that was flexible and took into consideration that. We also wanted controls at the recreation side so that one man can't rule, one person can't rule. So we said, all right, let's take the requisition, that yellow requisition again, okay, would require 2 officer signatures. Okay, instead of 1 department head, it's two of your officers sign off on it,
Commissioners.
and that we have put in place, Sherry, to handle like the clerk functions or the entering of that into the into the admin system. I know when I was talking with you guys, we said, oh, we're gonna have a recreation guy do it. We need to learn this first, okay? And we'll get there. Once that requisition is entered into the system, we wanted to give the CFO approval for reoccurring expenses, the normal expenses of recreation that are under $1,000 and really that are not capital, okay? You're not buying stadium lighting or something, okay? At that point, if we're on our approval column here, you see the red recreation requisition, CFO will approve that requisition and make it a purchase order, okay? This is literally very quick.
And Mark,
Like league fees and
Referee fees, yeah.
and Mark, our conversation today is Jim had done the homework to go back through all your bills and found out what the average bill amount was, and this 1,000 should definitely be covering 95% of your items.
Yeah.
I think we have bills already in play to pay that came in late January, early February. We already saw them to sign them already.
Okay, so at that point, CFO has approval to create the purchase order. You have a green document now, able to go to your vendor, hey, this is what I want, give me the bats, balls, whatever I need, okay? They will sign now the receiving piece of it, okay? So we got through the purchasing. Any questions? We're good?
Yeah, wait. All right, I got back up. The requisition, that's the yellow sheet you're saying here?
Yeah.
Yes.
How was that created?
Sherry creates it.
You tell Sherry what you need, email, you drop it in the tax box or sewer box, whatever that is.
So we're giving her our information.
Yes.
Yep.
She creates the rec.
And
Right.
And I guess that would be, hey, here's an estimate from Destination Athlete and Sports Authority and whoever.
Right.
You keep those same rules in place,
right.
okay? Create the requisition for Destination Authority. You got 2 signatures or 2 people are on the email.
Right. Oh,
Is that acceptable?
Yeah,
The email?
yes.
Yes,
I'm
Yes.
thinking I'm thinking it's acceptable.
absolutely. That's what Sherry and I talked about.
Okay? Sherry then produces this and puts all of the other stuff that you gave her right behind it.
Okay.
With the emails.
All right.
With the emails.
With the emails.
With
The email, everything like that.
Okay.
It's under 1,000, it's a normal expense. It then goes right to CFO, Lorraine, who then creates the actual green purchase order. Help me out with this, Lorraine. Does this get all put together? Okay? This then they can take, how does it get back to them?
They
We're not
can,
gonna take everything else. that whole kit and caboodle, all the backup for it will go back up to Sherry. Sherry will notify you that your purchase order is ready. Then it's your responsibility to pick up that purchase order, take it to destination athlete.
Have the person sign it.
They will sign it as the vendor. Hopefully they can give you an invoice, some kind of receipt, and you bring that back to Sherry. Then she'll marry the two of them, give it back to me, and at that point, once we have an invoice, your signature, the vendor's signature, then we know it's okay to get paid.
And then those checks for the 1,000 under will be cut with Lorraine's involvement, Sherry's involvement, without us. They'll be done.
If
You
you...
council approval, and that would be liaison, just like your previous.
No.
Automatic.
You guys are
Commissioners and
doing
Sherry.
it. Two commissioners and Sherry. We're not involved at all.
The only thing that Sherry requires is, one, that everything be mailed here, and two, that it say Recreation Department on the bill with the purchase order number on it, so it's easy for her to marry up. Remember, this is a process for her. We can't say that this is going to stay this way, but right now, we've designated her as the person that could work through it.
We're just going to review on the back end. We're going to get monthly reporting that we're going to review of what you already purchased. We're going to do a retrospective review for those 1,000 and under items, so that if there's, for whatever reason, we can't even think of anything, but hypothetically, if there's been a reoccurring expense that raises an issue or a concern, then we can at least circle back with you and say, hey, Mark, we've been seeing blah, 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 and then we can have a conversation.
One thing I liked, and I liked hearing this the other day, is that they talk at the commission and they bring in their bids, and they actually discuss among all of them, one, the bid prices, which I think is
Much like you
much
are,
better than I've ever seen in all the years of service.
We're trying to amend it.
Yes, absolutely.
Are there, and I'm sorry, Jim, are there vendors that are designated by the state of New Jersey that are pre-approved to do? Because my question to you is, and I know you guys are running around to try and find who's got a sale on certain items, to do it, but it was always my understanding that there are certain vendors that qualify to get on the pre-approved state list, and the quid pro quo is, if they're approved, it makes it easier for this process, and they're supposed to be giving better discounts. Have you identified those folks who are on that list?
They're not always, in my opinion. I mean, I deal with state-approved vendors where in my job, it's not always cheaper. Sometimes it just streamlines the process for you. Like I use Bean Clay to get the dirt for the ball fields. They're a state-approved vendor, and they're local. They're right up in Great Meadows, so they ship it right down. The other ones are in Pennsylvania, or they're down south, and it's a little bit harder to get. Where we can, if we're in a hurry, we're trying to use them, but pretty much we've been able to shop everything and get whatever we need.
Okay.
We do have one issue, and Jim and I are working through it with the auditor on the aggregate per vendor. So we will be talking to you about that as we get more information from the auditor, to see if there's something we need to change or not, because there are compliance issues with state that we need to follow. And the auditor has brought that to our attention, so we'll be talking further about that.
Gotten to that point, but maybe one of our...
What is that threshold? Do you know?
17.5 or
It's I think it's 25,000.
Well, if you have a qualified purchasing agent, 17.5.
17.5.
If we have a qualified purchasing agent.
Right.
We don't.
Right,
The school
17.5.
doesn't have one anymore?
So is what?
He told us we can't use the school. That was part of
Without a
the
QPA.
shared service agreement.
I wouldn't know that.
You
Yes,
have
I
one
do
that's
know
over
that.
that?
Did Bob know that?
If you
The
have a
shared service
QPA,
agreement?
it's up to 39,000.
Yeah, I talked about it.
The school has a purchase agreement, and that's part of our shared
This is
service agreement.
that's the breakdown for schools and for what a local...
In our shared service agreement, we do have that the purchasing agent from the school. We haven't used the new one yet, and we are unclear. We didn't even ever get done with the one we had before.
That's why we qualify for 17.5.
But she has to sign off on all the paperwork. It was a huge deal.
And
We
would
never
rec,
got
would rec be
over that
considered
amount.
town, right?
Yeah, local.
Because it's a left, so
Right.
it's 17.5.
Right.
Yes.
That's what I thought, 17.5.
That's a vendor threshold.
That's what we've always been out. So if there's any, if
Was it
there's any
25,000?
vendor that's getting more than 17.5,
26.
it
It's
does.
not even just the vendor, it's the product as well. If you're gonna buy $20,000 worth of clay, and you split it between two vendors, it doesn't matter, you still
Still,
receive it.
Oh.
Vendor and product.
Okay,
Do
all
we
right,
have those
so,
dollar amounts with any one particular vendor?
See, I was happy to hear that Mark had some
we gotta keep...
experience with
we gotta, we gotta keep that in mind, you know?
Well,
And then to the
that
extent that
requisition.
there is
I got it right
a
now.
product or a
I'm watching
vendor,
with that one.
then we have to think about,
That's-
addressing that for you up front.
Honestly, I
Whatever
think
way that has to be
that
done.
Morrison is going to look at your purchases from last year,
Right.
because they're in good, they're in good shape, you could
Right.
really see, and he's going to just give us some
Yeah, right.
10,000-foot level suggestions.
We'll figure it out.
No problem.
Okay, back to the process.
One thing to bear in mind, though, that we can't pay until we actually get the invoice. So there's some kind of verification that, the vendor is charging exactly what was on that purchase order, that there's no additional costs involved.
I agree. I don't like what was happening before with vendors sending stuff directly in here. That's not even seen. So that has been, shouldn't happen.
That would be the only holdup, that we're just waiting for the invoice. That would be the only delay.
I'm just going to clarify. So now you guys received your dirt, your equipment, whatever you got. You signed this, the green document. Okay, you're the department head. One of you have to sign. Okay? It comes back, it sits here until that vendor invoice comes in. And Sherry does the same matchup of invoice to
The
PO.
vendor signing here?
The vendor is signing this green sheet of paper. Okay? But if he's sending an invoice in with it, that's fine. Or if he puts it in the mail, we want the vendor to know the address is the township. We don't want it to go in all these houses, right? So it comes here. If the vendor doesn't have the invoice at the time you're buying it, he's going to mail it to us. Sherry's then going to match the two up. She'll have this, and it's sitting there until that other document comes in. She'll marry it up, and then she can pay. Then Lorraine can pay. Yeah, so she's going to be cutting recreation checks on a weekly basis every Thursday. She's here half a day, all right, 8 to 12, 12:30, till 11:30.
No, it's 9 to 9:30.
Okay?
Painful.
So there's your window, every Thursday,
Every Thursday.
11:30, the checks are going for anything that's in the process.
Times a month.
Perfect.
All right.
Are you mailing
So-
those right now?
Vendor wants to
And Mark,
make sure that that's in your documentation.
So
So if there's nothing on there saying that you're just gonna mail them out.
You just can't throw money away.
Mark
Can't throw it
Sprague.
around.
Between the two of you, are there any opportunities now that we're going to be paying more often to save money and get better deals, get discounts? Because I remember when we...
There could be.
There was a thing where we were paying more than 30 days and we weren't being able to optimize
There were a
discounts.
few particular vendors that didn't want to
Deal with it.
deal with us because of that.
But there was also a
Are
few
you going to
vendors
go,
that
are you
George
going to
said
go with
that
our
we were
file
going to do
folder
that.
and show them the process we have?
Oh, we can do that. I don't think it's trade as well as you do.
But I remember there was a couple of vendors that said
Again,
we
we
might get a
can't-
discount if we paid in a certain amount of time.
And
So
some vendors do offer,
you,
you know,
babe.
if you pay within,
Oh, yeah.
20 days, they'll give you
Read all that.
2%, 1.5%, something like that.
Well, we have the opportunity to take advantage of that.
You know, we'll obviously look at that, and we look at everything.
Right, now that we have that, so I mean, I know
talking
Joe,
about the goddamn webpage.
Nation was talking about, it was one of our issues with payment and whatnot. And I think he's more amenable to getting paid on a regular basis, and maybe there's an opportunity now that you can let them know, hey, this is the deal.
Absolutely.
Maybe you can,
Joe expressed his feelings while we were on the campaign trail.
yeah.
Okay, just for time management, are we,
Two things we got to cover.
okay.
Okay, one is the green box, the green call-out on this process says appropriateness, quote unquote, the appropriateness of a purchase is not determined by the CFO. And I wanted everyone to understand that. She can say, hey, basketball account is paying for dirt, that doesn't make sense to me. But she can't say, the cheerleader uniform, you're buying an $80 uniform versus a $40 uniform.
Right.
So I just wanted to make sure everyone knew that, and we're trying to cover that with the two signatures from you guys. Any questions before we get on to the last part
Nope.
of the process is the reporting for recreation.
So, wait a minute, one quick. If it's over $1,000, it goes through your normal other process?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So at that point, he would just need Tom's signature to go ahead? Or do you...
Yes.
And so anything over $1,000 will then go to Tom, he'll approve, and it'll still be paid? Or we're gonna wait for the whole meeting?
No,
It
it's going to
goes.
be paid.
It's gonna get paid.
It goes.
If there's anything within my that I think needs to get bumped up, and there's a
Okay.
line item,
Yeah,
so the market,
that's
I'm also
fine.
gonna bring it to you.
I'm fine with that.
Obviously, any large purchases, you're gonna know about.
Absolutely.
What
Right.
it's gonna cost.
That's fine.
All right, so we wanted to have a look back. Joe, this is the look back report, all right? Go to your folder, we got 2 pink reports.
Oh, okay.
I was
I'm
able to
with
pull out a
you.
color out of my hat, that's what I came up with.
Can we just change?
I am just so glad we're having so much fun up
We're
here.
not having
This is a nice color.
I could yell at you, Elaine, if you'd like.
I think we spent $90 to buy pink paper, is that what it was?
Okay, so we have the recreation summary, and so you want to know which report,
Which
Judge?
report, right? The handwritten summary, and then purchase order listing. We can print both of these out. These are the ones that I'm intending to give to recreation on a monthly basis, so they know what's going out the door. Or they get, no, that's another report that they get. Yep, another discussion. So what do we want to see from the Township Committee for a look back in recreation purchases?
I think a summary report's fine for now. I think we start simple, and then if we realize we need more, we can always expand. But I'm fine with that.
I think we're
getting there.
some large exceptions to this process flow. All right, I forgot about these, Joe.
Yeah.
Credit card purchases,
That's right.
blanket purchase orders for professionals. How do we want to handle these things?
We have,
Not yet.
No, but the question is how are we going to handle the professionals? I think they should, the invoices should be, or the requisition should be submitted to the liaison, whoever has the professional. So, for example, if it's a Brent Carney bill, it would go to Elaine. If it's a Frank DeDeo bill,
nowhere.
or it
Goes
doesn't
nowhere.
get paid at all, until we get threatening letters.
we need all 5 signatures for Frank today.
Right. If it's a Tadeo bill, or, again, if it's a Finelli bill that has to do with sewer, it would go to Elaine. If it's a Finelli bill with the township, it would come to me. And I think that's how we would do it.
Our only issue is
What's
that
the-
if the professional has one bill with multiple departments on it.
They're not, they're broke out.
They're all separated?
They're broke out.
Yeah,
Years ago, yeah, they're broken out.
pretty...
I'll tell you what, if Michael doesn't break up the bill, he could send it to either Elaine or I. We're not
I
gonna...
gotta send it to them. That's easy.
Oh, yeah.
So
That's fine.
Getting back to the other exception, credit cards, like when they buy from
Depot.
Sam's Club or Home Depot or anything like that, where the vendor's obviously not gonna be signing it.
Or
I don't know.
requisition is not going
Well,
to generate
we
ahead of
got-
time.
yeah.
We got to talk to Morrison. I don't know that we can do credit cards.
Yeah.
Morrison has
The
to
question
go
is, can we
back
do
first.
credit cards?
That's a Morrison issue. I suspect he's gonna say no.
But how does recreation go to Sam's Club
I
to
don't
get all
know.
this stuff?
We don't know yet,
I
we're
don't know.
working through it.
So we're getting it. So,
But that's
We'll cross that bridge.
that's gonna be a Bob Morrison call.
They're doing it now,
we'll get some feedback.
until we know otherwise.
Yeah, until we hear otherwise.
Until we hear otherwise.
No credit cards.
We
don't know yet.
We don't know. I'm just saying, it's not an automatic.
We'll figure it out in February. Okay?
Or March.
March, April. But, all right, so for professionals, we took care of. There is no different process.
Is there an
for
issue?
Professionals, it's the same way.
Professionals are gonna mail their bills directly to the committee, or they're gonna mail them, we're gonna open them to the city.
You need to stamp it.
See, we don't have a requisition yet.
Generate,
for
yeah, we'll give it to
professionals.
them to sign off on.
It is a process that eludes the current process that we're in, and I've said that we've got to figure out whether it goes directly to a purchase order. It can go through a requisition, encumber the funds, and get it to a purchase order in the same day, in the same 15 minutes.
We could could do the same process.
Same process, keep it the same.
Enter it into a requisition and leave it for committee to approve.
Yeah, I would like that.
That's fine.
I would like that too.
That makes sense.
That's good, makes sense.
Bills, electric, phone, all that. Kathy can enter them into requisition and.
Yeah.
Yes, yes,
Right.
yeah.
Then everything is generated the same way.
Then there would have to be an understanding that whenever those requisitions are available for the committee, that if you want them to get paid on the next bill list, you have to be in prior.
We'd have to be
a day
in,
prior, so that they can get put onto the bill list.
we would actually have to be in the Friday before. The cutoff of the meeting is Friday at 12 noon, before the meeting on Thursday.
So you have to be in Thursday, so that there's a time to get them on.
Yes, and I would just ask for a friendly reminder of that, or at least in the beginning until I get a cadence.
From your department, from the person requesting.
Or, yeah, whoever it would be, or even just a general reminder, today is the day to come in and review your, just for a month or two until I'm trained. Then I'll be good. Then you can take the training wheels off of me. I'm just being honest.
All right.
I know me.
So we figured out professionals.
Yes.
We'll investigate credit cards.
Yes. So we're good?
I think we're done with process.
Great. Thank you very much, Jim.
But Jim is not done.
Yeah, let me just say that the amount of work that Jim and Elaine and guys have put in has been really beneficial, and it's been very timely, and I know there's really good process, especially for Rec, who's been trying for some change in
Very
practice for a long time.
appreciative of the effort that has been put.
Yeah, hopefully this will work. And you know what, we're probably going to have some growing pains, but actually, we originally talked about adopting an ordinance right away, and I had suggested to Jim, and one of the things I'm going to do right now is just to make a motion to authorize Jim to implement policies and procedures. So then we're going to do like a 30 or 60-day test period, see what works, what doesn't work. We'll get feedback from those who are involved in the process. I uncovered this, had you thought about, invariably we're going to miss something, but if we don't jump in and do it, we're not going to really be able, so we're going to have to just beta test, like, live.
And actually, your input to your liaison is critical.
That's why none of them want it.
Yeah, and then I think, you know,
He drew the short straw.
at the end of 60 days, hopefully by then, we'll figure out what's working and what's not working, and then we can go ahead and we can codify everything by way of ordinance, after everybody's had an opportunity to collectively draft this thing. So, thank you, Elaine, thank you, Jim.
And thanks for your patience,
Our
guys, and
pleasure.
working with us.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know it's been frustrating, and
It really goes down to a few individuals, you know, Sherry, one of them in the room, you guys, and Lorraine, in making this whole process work, so I'm just here to make sure.
I think it already, I can see where it will help us tremendously.
good. And even you can see in the conversation tonight, we started to think one thing, Lorraine made some suggestions we hadn't thought about, and we're tweaking it, I mean, we're tweaking it on the fly right here, but I think it'll all work, and with that, I'd like to make a motion to authorize Jim to immediately implement SOPs regarding the new bill payment and approval provisions, so we could take it for a 60-day test drive.
With all due respect.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Comment, roll call.
Miliani? Yes. Adams?
Yes.
Gloria?
Yes.
Trailer?
Yes.
I have something that's not really teaching related, but recreation related while they're here. When the IRS was in last year for an audit of 2011, he specifically commented, among other things, that we should not be cutting a check for referee fees for, say, $3,000 or however much. I did bring that up to our auditor, our current auditor, and he seemed to...
Let me add that to the list of...
But from what I understand, REC is now using an association that they're actually going to be using, no?
Well, not necessarily, no. We still pay the rest individually, and we want to look at that whole system and change it, because I'm not comfortable.
Yeah, he already brought it up
Okay,
today. That was
all
one
right,
of our topics of discussion during
But I-
today's call, which will,
Yeah.
But that's a work in progress, you have to address it.
Okay.
it's the outline.
I did report on it last year when the IRS
You
was
did.
there. I just wanted to put that reminder out there.
Because it had the issue whether somebody's 1099 or they have to get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're supposed to pay the person that's
Right.
actually receiving.
Yes, right.
Yes, not the
IRS
coach,
did
right.
suggest, an association, and then the association disseminates the money, and you're responsible for the reporting of the.
Right.
That's the way, that's,
Elaine, hopefully that's the way we're looking to go.
Yes, and that's what the auditor, we can work through with Morrison.
great.
All right? Anything I gotta go run break down the tax data?
You don't want to stay for this fun and
Oh, we're gonna go over the
frivolity?
numbers? Did you
Text
get
me
that
how they
report
did.
today? Are you good?
Oh, is this the kids, the number of...
The number of kids
Oh,
and stuff?
great. Thank you, Mark.
yeah.
Mark, turn it around.
I sent this
And my,
to
this number is higher than the other number they gave
Well,
before.
that's current data from, or current registrations through
Yeah.
to a point last year, so it changed a little bit.
Changes a little.
So
Yeah,
it's unique.
which
Unique kids.
changes, I sent you the
Yeah.
email, which
One kid in three
changes,
sports is one kid.
which changes the
Thanks, Mark.
total then.
Thanks, guys.
What is this go?
Thank you.
Mark,
why would it be
Mark,
higher?
give it to
I'll
Elaine.
show you.
All right, so now we got to go through the ordinance,
Okay.
which I'm scanning. The,
Well, we're going to discuss it now?
yeah,
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to just do the policies and procedures first. You were going to implement them, and then we'll come back in 60 days.
do you want to read through the ordinance?
I thought the same thing.
Why don't you,
You're gonna do SOP.
you do SOPs first?
the ordinance
Yeah,
until
we'll table the ordinance.
You heard enough.
Yeah, no offense. But yeah, for time management purposes. Yeah, it's 29.
I know, Jim, they were like...
I say this with all
Robin, give us
with all respect. With all respect.
So a much better topic, all right? We can
Yeah.
get into 2014 budget.
All right.
Let's go back to the
To start, I had asked Lorraine to put together the fund balances report. This is your financial report. And what I'd like to do is walk us through, at a high level, all of the items that we have access to, funds and grants and things like that, and surpluses, so we get an understanding. And then we can set some goals for our process in terms of what we want to see for the
Got it.
2014 budget. Okay? So the Lorraine report is in your attachments. Lorraine, help me understand what, it should be the third or fourth one.
This one here? This big one?
It's the spreadsheet one?
That's the work papers for the budget. I think,
No, yes, it's that one that Lorraine has.
I don't have that.
yes, you do.
When?
That was in
It was
the,
listed at some point, and there's, I don't know, 40 different other attachments.
that was my...
What color is it?
White.
That's
No,
why I
it would be
can't find
white.
it.
I don't know if
It just
it's
says
there.
Township Agreement Financial Reporting Dash Reserve Balance.
Is it one sheet?
It's one sheet of paper, two-sided.
Yeah, you want, let's make a
Can I see
quick
that?
copy of it?
I don't know if it's
Hand it
in
out
with
to
my stuff. That one,
All right, it's not there. We'll get it.
well, because I went through the whole budget, so let me see what this one is.
I have it on one sheet of paper.
I don't have it.
You want to do this?
so small.
Because I want one side of sheet of paper. Why print on both sides? There's not posted both sides. That's okay, I got both ways.
Two sides and one sheet.
Can you guys handle a small print?
Better you than me implementing those. Decided it was better next over here, right, out of the way. Well, so 120 and 125.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you. If we can condense this into a 5 or 10 minute discussion.
Yeah, we need to.
All right? So Lorraine, you want to walk us down top to bottom?
Sure.
Oh,
Up top is the surplus balances, which really should be referred to as fund balance for current sewer and general capital. I give you the year-ending balances in accordance with the audit, except for 2013, that's the unaudited figure, subject to review and adjustment by the auditor. You can see from 2010 to 2013, our current fund balance went from $828,000 up to $1,096,000. We did generate surplus in 2013, although not a lot. The surplus with fund balance for general capital really was derived in 2012 by the cancellation of a lot of open reserves that had been funded in previous years that were no longer necessary, projects completed, so they were canceled by resolution to fund balance for general capital. There they sit and wait to be appropriated for any other capital project that we may like.
So what is the surplus for 2013?
The year-ending unaudited fund balance for current fund is $1,096,000.
Okay.
For sewer, it's $1,381,000.
Yeah.
And general capital is $55,700.
Okay.
For the next little category there, Jim had asked for the budgeted amounts for current and sewer. Those are, are only operating budgets. I provided you the initially adopted temporary budgets for current fund, $980,000, for sewer, $140, almost $3,000, and the balances of $645 and $141 were as of January 30th. That's what had not been encumbered or spent prior to January 30th. The next category is your 2013 budget reserves. Those are monies that were raised, obviously, in the 2013 budget that are still available for spending for any bills presented from 2013. Our initial budget for 2013 for current fund was $4,439,000. For the sewer, it was $635,000. Of those amounts, we still have almost, and this is again as of January 30th, we still had almost $148,000 in current fund and $40,600 for the sewer. The next category is all of our grant balances. Between all of those grants listed there, those are the appropriated reserves, meaning that they are there just waiting to be spent. We have $331,000. The only one that I'm not 100% sure is the safe routes amount. All the other amounts came from a prior year budget, and there really wasn't much expenditure in 2013. So again, all these figures as of year-end 2013 are unaudited.
Little Grove has $92 in it, Mike. Quick.
Take one bottle.
Lorraine, how do we find out the safe routes number, what that is?
The auditor will give us all the figures when the financial statement is done. That's due by February 10th, so I imagine we'll have that in a couple of days.
What can those monies be spent on?
That would be determined by the initial grant paperwork. For gypsy moth, I have no idea. Body armor is for body armor for your police department.
Okay, if I get a copy of the safe routes, whatever that, is that you or Tim?
Let me explain what the safe routes is, what I think it is. I mean, that amount is
Sounds high.
quite
Large.
interesting to see.
Yeah. Well endowed.
There were 3 different safe routes to schools grants that we received over a number of years. They funded 2 sections of the bike path going on Greenwood Street, and then they funded the sidewalk extension on South Main and the pedestrian bridge over the Merrill Creek. I don't know. I mean, that's
amazing.
But Jim's point, yeah, we need to find out, because if, you know...
It may be a
the
little high.
projects are done, closed out, goodbye. I mean, they're long,
Right.
just wrapped up.
And so did we spend the money and apply it to, and not apply it to the grant?
The only thing I can think of, and it's certainly on predates the grant,
Yeah, it does.
is,
I would have said it.
yeah, well, no, it clearly predates the grant, is that we received the grant monies after the fact. All these grants are post-construction reimbursement grants. And the checks were cut out of capital or somebody else.
Exactly.
It's like the old driveway escrow.
Right, so in other words, this is money that possibly could be, with the auditor's approval, returned to us.
I can tell you right now,
Right.
I can tell you right now that recycling tonnage, we bought a truck.
We just got 25,000 in 2013.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we got it.
I mean, obviously without knowing more, but there is at least theoretically a potential for, $300,000 being $331,000.
Well, if you're looking at the Safe Routes grant, and it's not, we've utilized it all and maybe didn't apply it correctly, then it would go into our general fund.
Yeah, but that would apply to everything. So what I'm saying is, we have a total of a possible $331,000 of monies that could be returned to...
Some of these are still live active grants, like
A lot of
So it's not going to be, understood.
OEM is live.
The OEM
Communities
grant for
recycling
27 grand
tonnage.
is open, that's the new...
All right, so just for time management, because
Yeah.
what are the next steps? Who's going to do what to...
I'll research with...
The auditor?
With Bob.
Okay.
About the grant.
Let's take this offline and move on.
Let's hit other trusts?
Yep.
Okay. Other trusts, we have a total of $112,000 available for spending. The largest portion of that is small cities, which is restricted as well, but your other trust holds smaller monies that are not separated into a separate trust on their own. Our snow removal trust is there, that's set aside by ordinance for specific additional snow expenditures that we may not have budgeted for in the current year. In general capital, the bulk of that $1.2 million is the set-aside project for $1,062,000. The other monies are there and available to be spent. Your capital improvement fund and your fund balance can be spent by capital ordinance to fully fund a project or partially fund. The other ones are projects that we could cancel by resolution, make available for other projects.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Your sewer capital, we have $405,000 just hanging out there waiting for a sewer project. Again, that would have to be set up by capital ordinance to fully fund or partially fund the project. Your open space, that's definitely an unaudited figure. Just want to point that out one more time so no one's relying on that detrimentally. $887,000 escrow trust is a really nice $96,000 of active accounts. The COA trust, animal trust, public assistance.
I don't understand the COA trust 152. Where is that coming from? When you have the COA
That was just
in
the
general?
capital-
Okay.
That was just the capital project monies, I
Okay.
believe they were called, that were moved to general.
Yes. So where is this, how is this, the $152,000? What is that?
Can I make a suggestion?
Okay.
I think you should talk to John about, I think that 152 might be used for the subsidizing of the fees and
Yeah.
for those co-units. I think that's exactly where that could be
Exactly.
tapped into.
Exactly.
To give
Well,
those
that's why I'm
folks a
asking, what is that? Yeah.
I think you should.
Okay.
I suspect
All right.
that because you've been talking about that for some time. I think that's where that
Okay.
can come from.
Everything else there is just a dedicated fund.
So then, the number 25 is the recreation dedicated trust. So that's, what lies underneath that is the breakout of all the sports that they maintain, right?
Correct.
And all these are as of,
January 30th,
as of January 30th, for the lower portion.
I believe so.
Okay. Good.
Has there been a report generated to recreation?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, so what we're going to do, that's a good question, because we're going to, on a monthly basis, we're going to have reports out of Edmonds, right? This is Lorraine's summary of all of these things as a starting point. Moving forward, we're going to have the trial balance report come out so that we can ensure that trial balances are occurring. And for the recreation account, we can hand that off to recreation so that the reconciliation with recreation can occur. I said that? Okay. Any questions on our fund balances?
No, but it's a great place to start.
We needed to start. We needed to.
Absolutely, a lot of good work.
Thank you, Jim.
Thanks,
And the next lovely item I have is the 2014 budget process. So what is the...
Is this, well, current fund, Greenwood Township current fund 2012 municipal budget?
Including my errors, 2014.
Oh, okay, so, okay.
Is this now the worksheet, the work paper?
Yeah.
Okay. So really, I know it's late and I'm well over time and I'm going to yield my other stuff so that we're not here all night. But really what I wanted to do is get the process from the Township Committee in terms of how to move forward. What I've requested of Lorraine, we basically have a financial cliff at the end of the first quarter. Is that correct?
The temporary budget was only meant to pay for the first 3 months of the
Yeah. Okay. So with your previous resolution, we're implementing all of the security constraints, and basically, when we hit the end of the month, we ain't got money. All right, so it's a check and balance in my head.
The end of March or the end of February?
End of March.
Oh, okay.
End of February.
I was going to say, you said at the end of the month. I'm thinking, okay.
So, I just wanted to bring that to everyone's attention, and what you're looking at here is we needed to determine we needed a line in the sand to cut the first budget, all right? So what you're looking at is a 15% reduction in operations and a zero payroll impacted budget for collective bargaining units, okay? And this is a starting point. So what we need to do now is to really determine our process for going through the budget. Do we want to have like a Saturday morning kind of meeting to get into some of the, like a working session?
I think we should.
To get into some of the details on this thing?
I think we should. I think we'd have to almost take it offline and do like a budget workshop.
Yep.
We can specially advertise for that and then, and do that, because I voiced my concerns all of last year. There was an increase in spending last year of $550,000. $200,000 of it came from a road grant. The other $350,000 increase was the increases last year, and the additional spending was hidden because they took $200,000 from the red light and another $150,000 from. There was $100,000 that was left over from the 2011 budget, which was allowed to be spent in 2013. In short, we took last year's Township Committee over my objection and the objection of Tom Kalari, increased expenditures in perpetuity by $350,000, but did not account for that. They took a one-time excess and spent it, but yet we're left holding the bag of paying this in perpetuity, and we have to address that. And you have two choices. You either have to do an assessment of the budget of where to cut, or you have to pass a tax increase that was created by Dan Perez and Tanya Siegel. And you got two choices. There is no third choice. And that is just a reality. They increase the spending without making any account for where that's going to come from. And we have a delta that I don't have to look at the numbers. I know what they are. There's a difference of $550 between the 12 and 13 budget. So, we have to address for that. So I think we need to have a working session.
The 8th or the 15th, guys, because we've got to get moving on the...
I have a wedding at 12 o'clock on the 15th, right? Has that been confirmed?
Yes, it's confirmed.
It's also one of the committee members' birthdays, so I want to...
So I would say, what's the 8th?
This Saturday.
I can't advertise.
We can't advertise in time. So I could do the 15th if it's early, but I have...
I'll do an 8 o'clock.
It's early.
I have
You have games and stuff?
8 in the morning? You?
No, in the afternoon.
Oh, so if we do 8 o'clock in the morning, is that okay? And Lorraine, Lorraine's going to be here for that, I would assume.
Jim, you're bringing the coffee?
I was gonna say, who's bringing the donuts?
I'll bring the coffee.
Okay, then I'll come.
We have coffee downstairs.
No, I want Jim to buy it. I want Jim to buy it.
No, you want Jim to
I'm bringing
buy
a
it.
Dunkin' Donuts box of junk.
So let's do a budget workshop on the 15th.
Don't drink too much on Valentine's Day.
That's it.
8 a.m. on the 15th.
Can we do 8:30?
All right, 8:30.
All right, Joe, 8:30.
Just because I know it's going to be tough getting out of bed.
Oh, yeah, those days are...
From your
I expect it.
Valentine's Day party.
So 8:30, there we go.
Yeah, that's what
Okay,
my
so
wife
it's the
used to hear.
15th at 8 o'clock?
Yeah, 8:30.
Oh, 15th,
Anybody want to
2:15.
submit any changes to this current worksheet prior to that, so I can hand out brand new ones?
How about if we look at it really closely and then suggest things? Why don't we just wait till the...
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll
In
just
the
wait.
email that I sent out is the Excel version of this, in case anyone wants to go to town. You have that capability.
Okay.
Thank you, that'll be priority one.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I will expect a cake and a candle.
All right.
That
Thank
is
you,
my
Jim.
report.
Thank you. All right, now, I will be quick.
Yeah, I've heard that.
No, I am going to be quick. So, first of all, I'm going to table the abandoned houses. I'm going to take Lindy offline with Michael. He already knows my request in terms of signage, and maybe if you can work towards thinking of a sign for that road, because we've been talking about it for 3 years. We need to hang a sign up there that says no left turn, private road, whatever, however it's best addressed. But, like, I want the sign, if we can, if it's realistic, to actually have it hung in, like, 60 days from now. Like, really just, let's commit ourselves to picking a date and just getting it done, and having the signage
March
put up.
1st, Mike, get it
Well,
up.
the difficulty with that, Joe, has been the difficulty with that intersection, beyond the geometry and the lane configurations and the signal and all that stuff. Forget about that. Is the fact that we can't do anything without the county's permission. That's the problem.
But Mike, moving in with the...
No, I know it. I know, I shouldn't say that on that.
Okay, when's the last, can you, like, whatever you need to do in back channels, put some...
Right, and...
I mean, I'm not talking like, I'm not talking like fish heads in newspaper, but, but, anything you do to expedite this, in the appropriate legal channels.
Even if it's tomorrow or whatever.
Right.
Tell you what it like, we talk about the date and so forth.
Great. And 738 Jackson Road, you and I already spoke about in terms of, or no, I spoke to John Howell about that, I'm sorry. There's a resident there that's talking about, or he's indicated that there's a large crack in the road that's worked up into his driveway apron, and it keeps spreading. So, I don't know. John Howell said there's something that just has to wait till the spring with the weather, like regardless of the condition. Is there any-
At all?
What's that?
Jackson?
I don't know. It probably
A transverse crack like that from the road into the driveway.
It's probably sewer.
Would not be.
Oh, would not sewer.
Yeah, because sewer runs along the length of the road, this is across the road. And the sewer lateral, which runs across the road, wouldn't go up the driveway.
Can I fix that?
It's possible, but it's...
He said he could do sealer on it, but he would prefer to do
Yeah,
it in the spring.
I mean, no,
He
right
prefer to do it
now,
in the
not-
spring,
yeah.
yeah.
All right.
But you need to look at it in terms of what the obligation is, where the crack is, and how the landowner
There's
is
cracks all over
affected.
out there, he said. You know, there's cracks everywhere on the street.
But
So, yeah, but to deal with this.
This is
yeah.
one where a resident is called, and I need to be able to report back. So the
Okay, so-
report
Yeah.
back is going to be, he has to wait till spring?
Oh, yeah. Well, anything that is done in the short term is a total patch. I mean, when I say, I mean, emphasize, it is, just cross your fingers and we don't know if...
All right, I'll follow up with him and explain the situation.
Nothing to
with execution of professional service agreements, do I have,
I have to pile of them for you to sign.
okay, so all,
I mean, because they've all been approved
right,
by
and you
resolution.
have everybody, there's no stragglers?
Not that I know of.
Okay, so then I'll take it offline, I'll sign that afterwards.
Joe? Can Lorraine leave?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Lorraine.
Lorraine, anything for Lorraine?
Always, whenever we're done, you just, oh, no, that's fine, yeah. Thanks, Lorraine, for everything.
Thank you.
I asked, actually at Elaine's suggestion, I asked Kim to make membership certificates of appointments for the various boards, because we had an issue with recreation in terms of when their end date was, and we wanted to at least have something in writing that's out there that memorializes when they're, what board they sit on and when their term expires. Kim, I went through everything was good to me, except Kathy Cullen says expires 2014. She's filled
Doris
Reyna's, which expires in 2016. So we just need to change hers to 2016.
Her term is wrong?
Her term is wrong. It says 2014.
Just make sure
It should say
Doris looked at the wrong
2016,
one.
but I think everybody else is correct.
Yeah.
But I'll double check that.
I'll go through everything.
I'll sign them, and then we'll get
Are you
them.
signing them or I'm signing them? Because it says
oh,
my
just
name.
Kim, you sign
I
them.
asked you, I can easily
No,
change that
no,
and
you
put your
sign them.
name
Are you
on
putting
these.
them on parchment paper?
I'm going to put them on nice paper to send out to
Yeah,
the...
no, that you sign them and send them out. That's perfect. That's
Okay.
perfect.
Can I make sure that Maggie's name is spelled correctly?
Maggie says,
Yeah.
I actually looked at the tax records and got her name.
I had her write this down.
Yeah.
Maggie, the
Okay.
lady?
Mhm.
Yeah, she actually wrote her own name down on my pad.
Yeah, I
So
have-
I got her own name.
I have her
So it
name,
has to
and
be
then
spelled. It has
Maggie,
to.
and then,
Okay.
yeah, I have
All
her,
right.
I have her name.
Is that in a printout?
It is, check,
All right.
double check it.
I'm gonna,
I want to about Beth McMahon.
no, I'm tabling COA. You could deal with it. I'm not gonna talk about it at all. And I'm tabling COA, I'm tabling abandoned houses for time.
I know what you're
What?
talking about
Did you get my email on the EPA station?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about next.
Environmental.
EPA staging, I don't know, it was, Bob Canay suggested a property off of 57,
Amy,
the Amy property, maybe, to,
yeah, he said because, one, we can cut through and it would help us with the trail. They would have to do the cutout work. And two, they would be able to drive down 57 and come in the back way as opposed to coming through the center of town. Although Tom Kalari might be directly affected.
How are they getting from there to where most of the pipe gets laid?
Well,
Seriously.
isn't Rickline Hill Road come down? Isn't any of the side roads come down? From 57 down straight back there? 57
Oh, so you're
Rickline.
saying you're gonna go...
Yeah, you make the
back
line,
road
you
to
said
the farm.
down, they keep the truck traffic out
and
of
they're
the town.
not coming through the center of town.
Right. He was gonna look
Well, that's what
at
I'm saying, and Amy's right there at the center.
But I bet they will.
Amy's right at the, Amy's at 57.
Amy's up on 57.
Oh, I know.
I'm talking about the red light. I'm talking about our blinking red light. That's what I'm talking about, the center of town.
Yeah, but something has to be set up with these
Wait,
contracts.
Where Amy property on 57,
Right,
yes.
the one at 57 and right there at Main Street, the one they
Right.
preserved a couple years ago.
But if you cross over Main Street and keep going down and come in one of the back roads to come to Pacesetter, as opposed to coming through the middle of town, or the Greenwich Street, he's proposing, and this is something we can talk to him again about, but consider.
And I would just say this, I would ask the Township Committee, do I need a motion to authorize me to designate a spot that is, I mean, do we want to talk about it after, do we bring it back on?
My thought is between Mike and Bob Canese, if the Amy property is the right place to go, he could show you where he wants that cutout to be anyway.
Yeah, and my point is this, to the extent that Bob Canese and Michael are comfortable with the Amy property, can I have authorization to tell Terry from DEP that that is going to be our staging site without having to come back?
Yeah, absolutely.
So do I need a motion to authorize the mayor to designate Amy property as a staging area, subject to the engineer's approval and the approval of Bob Canese?
Yes.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Comment? Roll call.
Miliani? Yes. Adams?
Yes.
Clark?
Yes.
Terrell?
Yes. Okay, finally, I saved the best for last. As part of our new township webpage, I am so excited for this webpage. It really is. It's going to be, I've been working very hard with Cindy on this, and it is so user-friendly. It's clearly organized. You'll be able to just intuitively know exactly where to go for the information. And one of the things that I brought up probably a year and a half ago, and talking about adopting a mission statement for the Township Committee, and I gave you in your packages the mission statement, and I'd like to adopt it tonight if we can, so that I can have Cindy put it on our new webpage. And, you know, for, I guess, the record, and those who don't have a copy, what I'm proposing is that the Greenwich Township mission statement be and read as follows: We are a local municipal political subdivision granted authority through the New Jersey Legislature responsible for the fair and just governance of its citizens that require the responsible expenditure of every tax dollar. We are committed to providing full transparency in each and every undertaking to earn the trust and confidence of an informed citizenry. And for a vision statement, we are committed to transparency and service for the individual and society through the rule of law. We will provide quality service that continuously meets or exceeds public expectations and that ensures that all are treated with courtesy, dignity, and respect, strengthen relations with public, local school board, and township professionals, acknowledge and enhance the potential of every person in our local government to contribute to service through participation, training, and technology, and to share a sense of common identity and purpose to serve the citizens of Greenwich. And our statement of core values, as I propose, would be to required to accomplish our mission are 4 paramount values representing the core of what we stand for as a local body politic: integrity, transparency, fiscal responsibility, and quality service.
I'll make a motion.
Could have said it better myself.
Second.
Comment? Roll call.
Miliani? Yes. Adams?
Yes.
Fleury?
Yes.
Coriello?
Yes, and thank you for that. And that's it. I am finished with my agenda items.
You didn't say so, okay. I got everything else.
Moving on to mine, third time, I'll move the security and video to the next meeting, so I still have some information that I need to iron out. Joe's here. I have some detail here on OEM and some of the grants and one thing on the generator. Joe, you want to brief? He sent out a nice packet for us to breeze through it very, very quickly.
No problem. Just real quick, I forwarded copies of the grants for the emergency generator. Just to let you know, these grants are, as I think Mike stated, we pay first, they reimburse us for these grants, so that's why I figured to get them to you where we stand right now with them, so it can be figured out for the budget process. I wasn't pleased with the initial one, the initial hazard mitigation grant, that they only gave us $35,000 off of my initial request right after Sandy. So, going to the county OEM meetings, there was additional local grant money available. So there's an additional $10,000 at this time that's available for grant for this emergency generator. But it still doesn't come up to the 90-10. I think it was 90-10 that was approved for
The size of the generator,
Yeah, or no, for the complete job.
Oh, okay.
And right now, I have forwarded the copies of the quote, and once again, with this project, it will have to go out to bid. These were just quotes I got just to give myself an estimated price to work on where we need to stand.
Who's doing the bid for you?
What's that?
Who's creating the bid spec?
The bid will have to be done by the township.
Mike?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. And also, the hazard mitigation this year was just a preliminary through the New Jersey, I don't know if I'm going to get it right, but the website, the application's there. I got to start filling it out. And right up to the last minute, if the town wants to back out, we can back out, and they would just cancel that. So nothing this money's here waiting for us, but if something happens in the budget that it can't be done, because I think by the time the grant application filled out and stuff, we have to have the project done within a year, because I believe it's within a year of the application.
So in actuality, we have to understand what the total cost of the project is in order to get it into our budget, which we're looking at adopting sometime in the March, April timeframe. So when's the deadline?
The deadline after we fill out the application stuff, we'll have up to a year.
No, when's the deadline for you to fill out the application?
To work at it, they said within next month or so.
Oh, okay. So then we have up to a year to use it.
I can fill this all out.
Okay.
And we
Do
can
it.
get
Do it.
approved.
Do it. Do
And
it.
we can get approved, and right at the last minute, before we go out to bid and this and that, we can go.
You make a motion for Mike to
Okay,
do,
so that's all I
prepare
want
the
to know
bids
with that.
then.
And I got information today, and I'll forward that for the next meeting, but real quick, the state of New Jersey, and just briefly, there's more money available. State proposed the creation of the New Jersey Energy Resilient Bank, which they use the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development money, which was $1.46 billion, and they used $210 million to create this bank, first-of-a-kind bank for technologies of generation, fuel cells, combination heat and power, and solar facilities to be a resilient, energy efficient for when the power goes out and stuff like that. Just
I like it on a number of levels.
Email forward this information to all the committee members to look over, and it's an application process that's out there for loans, low-interest loans, and/or grants.
That sounds interesting.
Well, I'm interested in it to help maybe offset even more costs of the generating system.
And if there's something we can do with the utilities to reduce our overhead on the utilities costs with what we're dealing with, we...
Well, what I've learned through this here too, municipalities, fire stations and stuff like that, grants, solar systems and stuff, they can, the law for houses, they gotta have a shut-off system on them when the power's out. So they can't use municipalities and emergency facilities, they got a switch that if the sun's out and the power's still out, the building will still be lit.
It's still,
Yes.
good.
Yeah. So
What's the name of that, Joe, again?
What's that?
What's the name of that again?
Name of Resilient, hold on for 1 second. It's a
Resilient.
hazard mitigation program, and it's called New Jersey Energy Resilience Bank. And there is a website, like I said, this letter's attached to it when I forward to you, there's a website and
Great.
everything on that. And the only other thing that I do have on here, and I'll work with Lorraine on this, and hopefully by the next council meeting, from the OEM meeting, I have to sign off on closeout paperwork for Hurricane Irene and Tropical Storm Lee. This is the last of the paperwork stuff. Everything else is on the computer. I just email it back and forth application, but this is the last of the paperwork stuff.
Oh, that's on paper.
File this thick,
Did we ever get the money?
that's what we gotta find out, make sure I got the list
You
here.
got Warren County in parentheses next to Greenwich Township, right?
Yeah, or it goes down to Cumberland.
We found that we received Greenwich Township, Gloucester County, one of the payments. That should be, I worked with Lorraine, should have been sent back to them.
And Joe, speaking of which, I never heard back from Dave Barretto on that thing I was supposed to sign off on that webpage that I couldn't get access to that night.
Oh, okay.
I never...
The guy from the state was gonna work on the glitch, and he was involved with the Super Bowl and the Division of Fire Safety, so
That's
maybe
more
next
important.
week or so.
I just, I don't want to tell you, I forgot about it until you're talking about it, and I thought we had a January 31st deadline.
Well, when Charles said, because what was going on with the Super Bowl...
They gave him a little...
Gonna give him
Okay, all right.
Because probably a week and a half prior to that, that Monday when he was here, he was pressed for time.
Okay.
He was coming from East
All right,
Rutherford
but
that-
I just wanted to remind you of that there's still something I need to sign off on that I haven't done. Okay.
That's pretty much it, except for, I think, the emergency action plan for the Pohat Creek is pretty much self-explanatory. At the end, so we're in good shape.
Thanks a lot, Joe.
Thank you very much, Joe.
Great report, all right.
And thanks for looking for those funds. Always trolling for, I love it.
And Joe, and next meeting, you'll give a listing of your members for the LEPC?
Oh, yes, everybody who's applied back, that will be taken care of.
And then at the next meeting, we'll also adopt the resolution for the mutual agreement with the county. Remember, I forwarded that to you?
I got information
Yeah.
on that, from the, county.
I sent it to you. Yeah.
60-page combination notice. It's fine.
All right, Elaine?
Oh, it's my turn?
It's you. See if you can save some of Jim's time.
Okay. I'm not skipping anything.
But it was very thorough, Jim.
We received a letter from Clark, Hayton, and Hinz with regards to the analysis of the COA trust fund. I'd like to have somebody make a motion to authorize Beth McManus to continue her research. And, Kim, the books that you found that were in binders and stuff, was that all sent to her? No, not the books. I sent her the reports, the monitoring reports. Okay. It had bank stop. Yeah, I sent them to her. I emailed everything to her. She has them. She's said, thank you, responded back. I sent you the email now. I didn't look at anything.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she needs 2004 through 6.
Okay, so we need to authorize Beth McManus to continue to do the research work that's necessary to balance our COA trust fund account.
I'll make the motion.
Second. Comment. Roll call.
Miliani?
Yes.
Adams?
Yes.
Florrie?
Yes.
Freeland?
Yes.
I have a resolution in the package in regards to our sewer O&M maintenance agreement. We need to go out for bid specs. So the resolution, by title only, is authorizing the preparation of the bid specifications and advertisement for the receipt of bids for the operation and maintenance of the Greenwich Township wastewater management collection system. And the bid is being prepared for us by our sewer engineer, Joseph Pryor. Can I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Comment. Roll call.
Miliani?
Yes.
Adams?
Yes.
Florrie?
Yes.
Freeland?
Yes.
Okay, so then, I thought I was going to be authorizing Engineer Pryor to write a letter to Aqua about the $1,400 service charge, but Engineer Pryor has already sent the letter, and I don't need to have that authorized at this point in time. About 906 Tyler Circle.
Because I know him and I went back and forth about some of the...
Yeah, he was good.
Actually, just to close a procedural loophole so that nobody could say he did it without authority,
Okay.
I'll make the motion authorizing him to do it, to send the letter. Comment. Roll call.
Miliani?
Yes.
Adams?
Yes.
Florrie?
Yes.
Freeland?
Yes.
And at our sewer meeting, Engineer Pryor recommended that our sewer bills include the FOG, which is an outline of what the maintenance or what the sewer can accommodate, the do's and don'ts of being a sewer user. He has already sent that into Sherry, and we're going to post it on the website, and then, however, the final draft will be sent to Sherry, and we're going to get that out to the sewer users.
I'd like
that
to
we provide.
combine that notice with a notice to the residents of our new township webpage, so we can kind of...
Well, that's only half the residents, only 800
Well,
residents.
it's something, we'll at least get it started.
What the sewer users-
Believe me, when they see it, it's going to
People are
spread.
never gonna know.
Everybody's going to
That's
just
what
want to be on that website. They're going to just love it.
Absolutely, okay. So now, I need, I spoke to John Drill and Bob Canase, and I need a motion to authorize Bob Canase to complete the circle on the farmland leases.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Comment. Roll call.
Miliani?
Yes.
Adams?
Yes.
Florrie?
Yes.
Freeland?
Yes.
Done.
Thank you, Elaine. Wow, look at that, you almost made up the time.
I did, Dick.
And look who returns! Like MacArthur.
Well, I'll be brief, and I wanted to mention this for you, for your benefit, Mike. The two sewer bills, with Lorraine here, but it's already too late. The two sewer bills that were going back and forth in email have all been paid. So if there's anything...
I thought, I mean,
we went back and confirmed.
Okay.
You know, that's basically what we wanted to get done.
No, these were bills to contract.
Okay.
That had come up at the sewer meeting, Elaine? And,
Yeah.
And you took care of the Joe Pryor
Yes,
piece? Okay.
yeah, yeah.
I voted no.
Yes, you did, Jim. Thank you, Jim.
Okay, so I'll just give a quick overview. So we're looking, is Joe still here?
Yeah, he's still here.
So we had a technology assessment performed where Jeff Jewell had come in and gone and went through all the computers that we have here and identified some areas of improvement for us, and we wanted to move forward with that. I don't have anything here, so I was going to have to wait to the meeting on the 16th. But just as some background, Joe, we're going to work with you to figure out what needs to happen with the wireless component that you have back out there. Okay?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
It's an area that Jeff identified as a potential issue that we want to take care of. All right, so he's going to work with you to get it all straightened out and get some new stuff in here and actually run some data lines out there for the DPW folks so we can eventually get computers in the DPW office. Okay? So that'll be the next week. And time and attendance as well. We had a vendor come in. I don't have the quote in front of me. I don't even know if it's part of the packet. Right,
No,
so,
I didn't have any paperwork on it.
yeah, neither did I.
Did I see time cards ordered?
Yes.
Yes. If we have enough, can we return them?
The box is open.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, that illustrates the point of what we're talking about. It's already open and used while we're asked to approve it, but it was $24, so.
Okay. I saw it, that's all. I didn't know what we were out.
So I think that's, Kim is saying, to lighten up, Elaine.
We have two rolls of
Did you see your
toilet
face?
paper in there, and I'm not sure. I know.
Given the length of time it's going to take
I
to
know.
transition, we're going to need it. We're going to need them, so.
We cut the toilet paper.
Okay. Next.
Okay, so eventually, we need to work on a technology policy. To my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, we don't have anything that regulates the use of the computers and the wireless and...
We do not.
Anything like that, so I think we need...
There's a brief mention in the handbook,
Yeah.
the policy, but it's very
Okay.
It's very...
brief.
But you're redoing that, right? And you
Yes.
can, and we can update that?
Well, actually, I'm doing it now.
Okay,
I'm
good.
doing the policies and procedures now.
Great.
Okay, so you are including technology in that, we don't need to authorize you to do anything.
I'll run by the technology section by you so you can make sure that...
Thank you, I do appreciate it. Okay, and Tom as well.
Yes.
Okay, on the environmental commission front, because I will make my time, all right? I'm good till 9:40, so I got an extra minute and a half here. Environmental committee, we collected over, I think it was 125, 130 Christmas trees. And thank you, Mayor Torriello, for coming at a last moment notice. He showed up in his...
It was actually fun. It was nice. Yeah, it was...
It's a great workout.
I
It's not
think
raining.
we should do that with the recycling coordinator as well.
Oh, yeah, he's there. He's there.
Oh, no,
No, I mean,
means
go
for
on
him to be up
recycling
there
day.
On recycling day up at the center, at the old school, and hang out and do
Oh, do recycling with him? Well, sure. I'm sure he'll welcome any one of the members of the Township Committee. And then for the next meeting, Frank, we talked about this briefly, the recycling coordinator and the tonnage grant, and the Clean Communities grant, in terms of who owns that. Is that being covered in your policy? How is that being linked up?
Well, we have the Environmental Commission, and I think the idea was to put the responsibility of clean communities and the monies that are given to us by the state under the watch of the clean communities. And because right now, I think we got like $10,000 last year, and I don't know if anybody has I don't know who takes care of...
Kevin is our Clean Communities coordinator.
Right, and basically, has the purse strings for that money that comes in, how it's doled out, who makes the decisions on it. It may all be, it may be with the same person, but
Like
it's
we said
not,
about the road cleanup.
yeah. So it's not spelled out anywhere. I mean, that would fall under the clean communities. The recycling, if you want to do something with the recycling, I know there was a discussion about adding a certified municipal recycling coordinator, which we don't have. Kim's has an informal shared service with Phillipsburg. I think it's like $150 a year, or $100 a year, but there's nothing in writing. We just get a voucher, we send it over to Phillipsburg. I don't think there's an issue with it. I mean, we get the tonnage, monies back, or the reports back from the haulers.
Yeah, I know enough of the certified ones. I prepared the tonnage report, submit it to, and it's on Microsoft Excel, and I submit it to them, and they just take it and forward it to the state on our behalf, and we pay them.
So nothing
And we
formal,
pay
but
who? We pay the town of
We
Phillipsburg? We pay the
the-
certified coordinator to email to the state on our behalf.
Okay, but we
Yes.
pay him directly or her directly, or do we pay the town of Phillipsburg?
We pay her directly.
That's a problem.
That's a problem.
As a subcontractor?
That
Her
cannot
name-
continue.
Her name was, that's how it was set up.
Mm-mm.
Well, I'm just saying
Informally?
how it was.
yeah, it's informal. There's
I
nothing
didn't
formal.
do this on my own.
So
I was
moving forward,
informed.
I know you didn't.
take
I know
care
you
of it.
didn't. I know you didn't. I remember this.
Yeah, I mean.
I like the
this is-
concept in terms of in terms of saving the money, but we have to be more formal. It needs to, in my opinion, go to the Township of Phillipsburg, and Phillipsburg can reimburse this individual to the extent that they deem it necessary and, or appropriate. To the extent that they don't, that they want to take the $150 and tell their employee to just email it out. That's up to them.
Yeah, because I
but-
know the voucher was made out specifically to her.
Okay.
Well, that's what I was...
That's okay. I'm
I
glad that...
didn't know that.
We've got that clarified. That can't happen
That'll be
anymore.
rectified going forward.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, well, it'd be good to go forward. I mean, are we looking forward, I gave you information on Rutgers of having somebody get certified.
That's the other thing. I did look at the Rutgers courses. If we had somebody that fit the criteria, it's either a 4-day class or I believe it's a 21-day
And we
class.
do have someone that does fit the criteria for the 4-day class.
Of course we do.
And that is the certified DPW foreman. The DPW foreman, he's a certified public works manager. He can take the 4-day course and be a certified public,
So I don't know.
How much is the class?
the class,
It's through the,
it's through Rutgers.
it's through
yeah.
Rutgers, it's through the,
I gave you all the paperwork.
I believe
Yeah, so, I mean, yeah.
it's a lot
All right,
more than
well,
$150.
We'll take it offline.
Huh?
We'll
And we
take
do
it.
know we have
Yeah.
to complete the recycling
Yeah.
tonnage grant the documentation. You're doing that for the April timeframe?
April 30th is when it is
Thank
due.
God.
Okay.
I still
Yes.
don't do that.
So I do all the
When is it due?
April 30th.
So we have to make a decision about sending Joe to school soon.
90 days, yeah.
No, he
Well-
can be in school and as long as we're in process.
Okay, all right, so,
Sending who?
We don't know yet. We haven't...
John?
John is certified.
The form...
John?
John is certified.
Okay, all right.
Certified what? What was it?
He's a certified...
CPWF, right.
Yeah,
Okay, all right, all
yeah.
right, okay.
But Joe is not. Joe,
All right, well,
that's...
we have somebody who can do it.
Yeah.
It sounds like John. All right, great.
Yeah, but that's something that the town should look forward to, sending him to classes to go get certified.
But we will discuss it before we actually do that.
Okay, I hear you. All right, is that it?
Yes.
Thank you.
For the record, I was done on time, but you guys had questions.
Frank, you have anything to comment on tonight, or no?
I have nothing.
Nothing?
I'll bring
Okay.
this back to the time.
All right, out of respect for time? Thank you.
Respect for
And at this time, I'd like to make a motion to open the meeting up for public comment.
Motion. Second.
Comment? All those in favor? Aye. Anybody wishing to make public comment, please come up to the podium, state your name, and, go ahead.
Okay. Just listening to the recycling coordinator discussion, just want to add in,
Alpha has one.
a few years ago, Alpha hired one. As he was starting his job, he went and took the classes, he got his certification. And the great benefit is and we really appreciate the punishment. The guy went to town, got a lot of businesses, a lot of places that were being overlooked. So,
You still haven't beat me.
I would just say that you guys...
I'm the highest one in the county.
Probably look for it.
$46,000.
Thank you.
I know.
Thank you, Lou.
That's the thing.
Anyone else wish to make public comment?
I just wanted to, ask, going for the executive about the, Zoplis settlement last month.
We can,
Like after.
Can't do
yeah,
it.
we can't do that. We can't do that. We didn't advertise it. And I did get your request for a meeting, and I indicated to you that, after we conferred with Frank, we would be getting in touch with you to have a meeting, and we will have that. But we can't, do it now.
Correct, but for, I'm just asking for the request for your next meeting, say.
We'll discuss it. Thank you. Any other comment? Seeing no hands, a motion to close public comment?
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye. Old business, new business. Do we need to discuss the mold cleanup and repair status?
Okay, Kim is working on quotes. I'm holding off on the carpet right now because I do have someone that someone gave me another phone number for a contractor to do the carpet downstairs. So we're ripping that up. The Borgata bill, I have been playing...
The mold?
Huh?
The mold has been
The
done?
mold has been rectified. I took care of that on the walls.
Yeah, but it's the floor.
The carpet downstairs.
Right,
I mean,
right.
but, you know, it's not as bad as the situation that I did with the wall, so the wall is fine. The Borgata bill, Vicki from Accounts Receivable is going back through because the township, when I went through the League of Municipalities, I reserved the rooms. And I reserved the rooms for specific people. However, the other ones that we paid, we sent down the purchase order and things like that. The other ones, certain people had to call and give them a credit card information, which you guys did. You called and gave them credit info for your room.
Yeah, and then they wouldn't accept it.
Exactly.
You know.
And so she's speaking with supervisor to find out if this can be reversed out and that it will be taken off the credit.
I saw on the invoice tonight there was a payment for a Taj bill.
Mm-hmm.
Who
That's
was
for
that?
me.
That was for you?
Kim's going there.
I'm
Oh,
going.
it's a few...
In March, it's the Municipal Clerks Association. It's my,
Oh, that
My
wasn't
conference.
for, because I was going to ask why that was on so late. Okay, all
yeah,
right.
it's for my
Oh,
conference.
that's a new trip. Oh, okay.
That is in March, the end of March.
Got it. Okay.
It's my clerk's conference.
All right, so we're still waiting then. So
Yeah.
we're just going to have to carry Borgata to the next.
Yeah.
And the
Hopefully I'll
same
have
with
an
the mold
answer.
and cleanup, we're going to carry that for the
Right.
thing. And then what about the insurance?
All right, the insurance overview from the carrier recreation. I'm working with Beth from Wells Fargo and Pete from Wells Fargo. They're the brokers. We have the renewal process with the recreation right now. There's been some quotes that have been given, and there were some things that we're checking to make sure we don't have double, that, we had double billed because lacrosse is a program that is offered through recreation. The kids pay the registration fee to recreation, and then they have to pay $25 to join the Lacrosse USA Association to become a member. By doing that, they
get
have
insurance.
insurance coverage.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but we're listing them on our policy here. But then, we're back and forth with the deductible and, what we have here. So we're going back, and there was also the issue of recreation was providing a breakdown as to how many kids participated per sport. But let's just take, say, my granddaughter, for example. She does cheering, she does soccer, let's say she plays basketball, and she does things. Her number should not, that counts like as 4, but we really should only pay one time for her, and it's $7, say, per head. So we're just trying to get a thorough breakout as to what we have so we can cover everybody, because we have, and he just did provide a breakout today that I forwarded to the insurance agent. The number went a little higher, but it has outside teams, which we talked about.
Which is one of the things I'd like Frank to actually tell us, because we have
Kids from outside
kids
of
from other
town.
towns playing in our Recreation Commission program, and we're insuring them. I just want to make sure
Because
that we're
they're paying the
okay with
registration
that.
fee. Well, and what I found out too is, okay, say, the children say, let's say from Bloomsbury, are coming in and participating in our baseball, because they don't have that, okay, they're participating in our baseball. we have Greenwich kids that are going to all the surrounding towns playing football and doing wrestling or whatever, and joining these teams of things that we don't, and they're insuring our children.
No, we
to
don't
do-
know that, because there's a registration fee, and their registration fee may in fact include insurance, just like the lacrosse. So don't assume that that's true. We don't know that for
No, they
fact.
don't pay a separate fee.
They pay a fee to join the team.
Right.
And that part of that fee may in fact be insurance coverage.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know, we can't say that because we don't know it.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
when I spoke with Mark, he said that that is why they have, that money for the registration, because of these other kids, is sort of built into our registration thing. That's what he said to me today, that he built it in.
I'm gonna just add on this conversation now. I don't mind going on record as saying I've been dissatisfied with the level of communication or lack of communication, and I had asked, or suggested last time, and I think I really would like, authorization tonight for Frank to prepare an RFQ, and I'd like to go out, to bid on this and to get solicitations, because I'm not satisfied.
With what, our insurance
Yeah.
broker?
I'm not. I'd like to cast a line on the water and see what else is out there.
So what are you looking at?
He's looking-
RFQ for what?
A new broker,
A new broker.
For our pacing
Uh-huh.
broker.
Yeah,
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it. Comment? Roll call.
Miliani?
Yes?
Adams?
Yes.
Clark?
Yes.
Frillo?
Yes.
That's all I have.
Okay, anyone want to add anything? Comments, new business? No? Michael? Health report?
It's not on here.
Well, no, but
Your budget workshop.
the health report, I figured
It's all
if I
business.
was gonna do a health report, I was gonna do a really,
You want to do it, you want to do it next meeting?
So,
I coordinated with the Warren County Health Department to acquire a year's worth of data, which I just got today.
Okay,
you know,
great.
so I will
So for next meeting?
yeah, and
Okay.
with some other stuff next meeting. And also, I talked to Dawn Marie earlier today, because that was one of the main reasons I was coming tonight, but then, that's why I called you guys, actually, left the message, if you still wanted me to come tonight. But I guess it's too late to make that call. But in any event, I guess the Hamlin Park issue will be discussed at the next meeting, apparently. Is that,
better known as the Thomas Stewart Park.
whatever, sorry, I forgot. Sorry. Okay, fine.
Yeah, I have one quick walk-on, and it was something Elaine and I were going back and forth in discussions about the solar on the utility poles. So, Mike, we wanted to understand, some townships have solar panels on their utility poles,
To reduce their utility costs.
either reduce the utility costs, get another income stream, or something like that. Is that something that you would look into? Or do you have some understanding of it that you can share with us?
Well, I think my understanding of it probably isn't much more than what is obvious and what you just stated, Jim. And I think it's much more so a reduction in their utility costs, more so than any revenue stream.
Exactly.
Okay, because those little panels on those poles don't generate a whole lot of kilowatts. So therefore, there's no revenue stream being generated because you have to sell off the power.
But we
back to-
offset our,
But I-
Yeah, but
we
you
offset our-
definitely
We offset our
the cost,
utilities.
sure.
But I like a little bit about what Joe was saying about the grant. So that's why my ears went,
well, when you
Antenna
say
went
you can flip a switch and your panels then work
Yep.
during power outage, that's
Yep,
a big deal.
that's a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, you need a bank of batteries, you need something.
Well, with his generator, the one that he wants to buy. And so this is part of the
Yeah.
grant process.
So,
So I like it.
can we authorize Mike to investigate the utility pole option for us?
I think I have some good resources that I could probably just make a couple quick phone calls and get some good
Okay.
information.
Great.
without
Thanks,
spending
Mike.
Do you think the 20th is too soon?
What month? Now, I was trying to be funny.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know I'm holding you to task, Mike.
Can we do a motion so I remember it on the minutes?
A motion to authorize him?
Yeah, authorize Mike to investigate the...
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Utility pole solar panel.
Yep.
Comment, roll call.
Miliani?
Yes?
Adams?
Yeah.
Laurie?
Yes.
Grillo?
Yes. Any other business? A motion to adjourn?
Yes.
Yes.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Aye. So adjourned.
We hope we